Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary pals, we are back for another exciting season of the NECC Rainbow Six Siege tournament. And I'm Muhcreedy. Joining me here today is a friend of mine who I've been in the rank trenches multiple times, definitely knows his stuff, and I think he's making his debut for the NECC. It's going to be Carpi. And I think, Carpi, you couldn't have picked a better game to join us on. We've got two Legends teams going up against each other.
Yeah, you're damn right about that. So, how about we jump straight into the teams today? Your first match is going to be the UFC Knights versus the Fisher Falcons. Now, I would give you information on the players and what's been happening, but it's my first time, and once again, it's the start of the season. So, I'll try and deviate a bit, and I'll give you a little bit of information on the schools. The University Knights have, I believe, it is over 220-degree programs in 13 colleges. Your player lineup for the Knights are Caleb, Active, Bales, Moe, and Snako. I may mispronounce a couple, but I do apologize. Moving onwards towards Fisher College, our lineup is Techwill, Cappy, Bears, Maple, and Scoob. I believe Fisher College was founded in 1903 and have over 18,000 plus alumni. So, may not be information about the players, but about the schools themselves if you're interested.
Yeah, well, there's something I can say at least for with a very high degree of certainty. Both these teams are playing in that Legends division, like I mentioned. Now, if you're new to the NECC, that is that top division. And when you think about some of the other teams that do play in the NECC, that speaks for itself, in my opinion. I mean, you look towards some of the heavy hitters like Akron, they really demonstrate a heavy degree of just quality. I mean, teams like Purdue as well, they field really good rosters every time. These are teams that can go head to head against each other. These are teams that can compete with the very best, and I'm very much looking forward to see that. So we're not going to waste any more time. I'm going to take a look towards these map bands, Astro, Carpi, sorry. Border is going to start us off, and I think Border is a very interesting one. You look at these teams that are coming into a new season. Border, it might just be the map that you need. You're going in, you want to make that statement about your play. You may want to go a little bit out there, catch the opponents off guard.
A Border is quite an aggressive map with multiple spawn peaks that I bet you and I have both dealt with in our lives. It is very open space. You've got quite a lot of things you can work with, rotate wise, you can expand to the whole top floor. You will see 9 times out of 10 teams will hold above and down. But enough talk, I reckon we should get into the game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Calf and Oregon will follow us next up. But that Border is what we want to look at. Border, like you say, very, very soft map. When you are operating on that time, like you say, vertical gameplay is just the bread and butter of a map like Border. I can't remember the statistics. I think it's definitely up there with Calf, where like you look towards. Realistically, I'm expecting to see map bands, operator bands that do kind of follow that trend, looking towards obviously your Thatchers and your Cades, but maybe not so much. You might want to look towards some soft breaches, maybe a buck, get rid of that. That takes away that vertical both ways, whereas a sledge is just that one way.
Well, speaking of Sledge, he did introduce his new elite today, but it's not going to be Sledge banned first. It will indeed be Ying. So, slightly toning it down with the aggression. Fishers don't want to be pushed as immediate, I'd say. Maybe if they've done their research onto UFC and they know they're aggressive players. UFC's attacking ban, well, an Osa. Okay, it's an interesting one there. I guess you can pick it for, like you said, because there's so much soft breach on the map. I'm not too sure what we're going to go for the defense-wise. Could we see a Cade, a Bandit, the usual stuff? No, we're going to see a mirror because, once again, like you said, just there's so much soft breach, and with a mirror on the board, put in a little mirror window, cheeky little peek left and right, you might have the other team quaking in their boots. Our final ban for tonight's first map will be, what do you think, Muhcreedy?
I'm looking towards something a bit more fraggy. I'm thinking we might see like an Azami or something along those lines. Fenrir makes quite a bit of sense. That Ying's taken off the board. If you're trying to counter aggression, that's the operator to take away. On the defense, that side Fisher would be looking for Jaeger, but you don't want to take away that operator, that utility for yourself. So you get rid of the Ying, you look towards that Fenrir. It might not be in your classic lineup, so in doing so, you're not really shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, you know what? I would have maybe low-key expected the new operator to be banned, just Ram, just because the amount of sheer destruction you can do from a distance. You can open up like so much with 3 drones, and you can do it from standing well and safe distance as well.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see Ram being brought into play at least 1 or 2 of these rounds, because like you say, you're looking at this floor, there's a lot of verticality. When you look towards vents, that might be the play. But taking a look at the lineup that we're seeing coming out from Fisher at the moment, bringing in that clash, that's very much a statement operator. You don't want them to push forward towards you. You don't want them to get close. You want to slow down any momentum UCF might want to try and start off with. Looking at the setup, I can see you've got the Azami playing around on the roam, a couple of other operators placed in utility and support. I expect to see a very flexible defense come out from Fisher, one that tries to catch this roam clear and just bog them down. And with the clash, that fits it perfectly.
5 seconds left before.
Yeah, I can definitely see the clash being almost like a sheepdog, in my words. Just simply herding the players to where they want, you know, having a Doc holding a long angle with a 1.5, the clash pushing her towards with the shield. You know, it's really good, sort of just herding the players into a box, a kill box essentially. Hopefully, is what I want to see with what they do with the clash there.
Yeah, ooh, very interesting drone. I don't think I've actually seen this one before. Ooh, with the visuals into archives as well, that intel will be valuable. But Smack and Ho will be moving up towards those east stairs, and doing so has to be careful of these roamers. They are aware that 2 players towards east main, but they're not going to put any pressure on them so far. Why? Well, because they're not really pushing. Bales is going to lead that push, but when you really want to use a grenade on that clash, Caleb's going to be able to find one, but Bears does have that refrag. But the clash going down will put this first gunfight in favor of UCF. Looking towards pushing towards this site now.
100%, but another one will be taken down as Maple takes down Active, leaving us in a 3v3. Definitely a good first pick for UCF, getting rid of that clash, because late game, she will be a pain. Bears looking to rotate towards security. They may be attempting to take, I believe it's Snake on the outside here as he gets droned out. There you go, another drone off the board. Drone economy is fairly high for UCF, as Muhcreedy knows I do love my drone economy.
Yeah, I always hear about it every single time, but Snekino isn't going to need it right now. We're able to find Bears. That takes another defender off the board. Time ticking down in that 2 versus 3. The attackers are looking pretty good as they start to make more vertical angles. And in doing so, they're really forcing the defenders into tough positions. Looking towards over that east main and having to just contest long angles with the Thorn SMG. That might not be as easy as you think. Running in towards that site. Snack and Home will start to put the squeeze on them, as you want to see a player looking towards that beeper side to try and cut off these defenders. Caleb's able to do a little bit of damage. He's going to have to push forward to get the plant, but isn't going to be able to make it happen. The defenders able to even things out. 45 seconds left.
Maple picking up his 2nd kill of the round. He's looking to get aggressive, but he's got barely any HP. Bale's looking to take around the shield. Maybe potentially looking to nade out. I believe it's Carpi. He is stuck in a corner currently, but he's being cross-held by Bales. Bales is going to pick one off the Carpi, leaving us in a 2v1 scenario. Maple, is he able to pick it off? The first 4K of the season, the first 4K into the round. He's going to set the pace here, but no. Bales will shut down Maple, and our first round will go to UFC.
Yes, and in doing so, a strong stance set by those attackers there. It's something we've talked about. They wanted to shut down that aggression on the side of Fisher. They weren't able to do it so much. I think UCF, they definitely realized what was going on. They played around it. They said, what's the win condition here, really? We get this first couple of picks. We take the first couple of picks right there. Then suddenly you're turning the fact that they're spread out and they're very flexible with this defense. You're turning that against them. You're able to start putting that pressure on. You're able to start opening these angles, applying these crossfires. And at the very end, that's exactly what you saw. I mean, yes, they might have been able to get a pick in return, but ultimately they were taking the gunfights on UCF's discretion rather than their own. They weren't in control towards the end of that round, and that's purely because UCF positioned themselves well, and they read into the strategy quite well.
Yeah, that was quite an interesting round for me. The Clash, I wasn't expecting such an aggressive play. I was more genuinely expecting what I said, just sort of playing passive, hurting the players, pushing them, moving them, making them really uncomfortable, taking away the damage with the taser, because, you know, a Clash can do a hefty amount of damage if she's left untouched for that round. No, the taser is a weapon that you don't want to play with, honestly, in my opinion.
5 seconds to insertion.
But same sight gonna come out from Fisher once again. Same sort of play. This time, no Clash on the board. Instead, an Azami. I'd say an Azami's more aggressive than a Clash, though. So I do want to see what they're going to pull out with the bag with this one.
Well, you can still see those two players over towards that hallway. This is a position I wanted to see the Clash in. This hallway, I mean...
To hold 90 with 2 Kiva barricades. He's got two more on the way as well. Just has to hold out for long enough for his other one to come in. A Monty coming in from UFC. What's your take on that?
Well, we're going to look towards this archive push. You can see that Glass going to be playing over towards AC. The Claymore should be going down if they have them. They should at least have a player nearby ready to apply that pressure. The smokes are going to feed into this Glass very, very well. Doors start opening up, and now that Monty's going to start moving in. The smokes go down. The EMPs go to cut down any Thorn gadgets, any util the defenders have. And as time sticks down, Caleb's going to be able to get this plant off. Holding it in the corner, though, that's going to be very difficult. Now you're relying on the Capitao and the Glaz to hold this position. If they're not able to do that, if they get taken down, then getting eyes on that diffuser is going to be virtually impossible. Snecano using full usage of these smokes as they're able to find another. But Tech will push is close. They're able to find a Glass. They push towards the Monty, and they're just going to start defusing through the shield. It drops. The kill comes through, and Tech is going to get taken down. That plant is still there, but something massive is needed from Maple. Finding the pick.
He can't do anything. There's no way. Are they going to get this off? They don't have time. They do. They've got it off. There's no way. What just happened? That was the fastest round I've seen in a while. How did they get that off? I thought Maple was left in a 1v3 there.
A huge round come out from the side of Fisher. No, not left in a 1v3. They were able to whittle it down very, very well. Like we saw, that window play, the Glass was taken down. The Capitao wasn't holding that cross. They should have been looking at a crossfire so that at least one was covered, and then if, say, that Capitao did die, the Glass was there available for a refrag. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. That play got taken down. Yes, the Flames were able to do that damage. They were able to force the Thorn outside.
Yeah,
but the Mute had enough health and enough time.
He
went for
many bombs as they can.
The next time they use that attack strategy, they've got to plant on that door. If they do that, they can't try and ninja that. They can't put themselves in awkward positions where you're defusing through a Monty while you still have somebody on the window. Thinking about the positioning of that post plant is vital in rounds like those.
The sheer aggression that came out from Ute and Thorn last round. You know, if I was in that VC, someone must have just said, send it, we're gonna go for it. And that's what they did, because Maple ended outside for a good, a healthy amount of time. And Maple, honestly, in my opinion, should have been picked off. You've got the live action tracking ping of an enemy detected outside. You should be able to pick Maple off there. It should be one of your freebie kills.
Yeah, I think I have to agree there. Unfortunately, that's not how the round played out, and we're only at 1-1, so we're all at even Stevens at the moment. Nothing's really set into play. This site is where I really want to see a lot of this verticality come through. This is where I want to see a lot more cutoffs coming out from the Romans. I mean, if you play this right, you can isolate everyone. And you can really, really put the pressure on the defense. One operator that they are going to use to do that is that Ram. Looking to counter that, though, is going to be Maple and Bear up on that top floor, but Techwell going to start things off. Bale's taken away that Ram drone that we were talking about. The Boogie Woogie drone is removed.
The Boogie Woogie is indeed out of the round, and UFC, their chances have gone down from, I'd say, a very good 70 to a low 40. That Ram on the board is just incredible. The amount of flooring that you can open with one of those drones just baffles me every single time. I would say a ram on this site may be a little less inoperable, but anyway, Carpi, he's going to pick one off onto Maui, leaving us in a 3 versus 5, but Caleb's going to slap back, taking us back to a 3 versus 4. Quickly coming out from Caleb towards Archives right now. Just going to approach with caution and back out of the building. He doesn't want to lose his life.
Yeah, a very critical point at this moment for the side of UCF. They haven't lost this round completely just yet, but they really need to think about how this approach is going to come through. They start pushing their way back to that top floor. Maple's going to take that first gunfight. He's going to be able to find it, leaving the 2 attackers left on their lonesome. They might hear the drop, and they might be aware where these players are with these yellow pings coming out. But the question is it enough? Do they have it enough for the progression? No, they don't. He's going to be able to find Caleb, and as Active is all alone on that top floor with the DMR, it's not looking great. Realistically, looking towards this round, yeah, you might get 1 or 2 picks, but UCF, this might be time to start thinking about what happened in that round and where we can improve.
100%. UCF came in there, arms swinging, but I think they need to decide what they're doing. They're going in a little 50-50 split. I reckon there's a little bit of an argument. Are we going aggressive? Or are we going in passive? Well, Yellow Pings are going to come out. Going to do a fair amount of damage onto the Frost, known as Scoob. Potentially looking to drop the hatch. Potentially. 25 seconds left on the board. Yep, he's going for it. He's going to send it. He's going to be able to find one. What a nice shot onto Active. Leaving it in a 1 versus 3. 18 seconds. The odds are not in his favor.
15 seconds left.
Taking it slow. Looking to peek around the head holes. Oh, he spots a player, but he's unable to make the reaction in time. And Maple gonna come in, swinging, hands rumbling, taking Active out of the map.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, it's a complete turnaround from what we saw in the first round from Fisher. They actually had a very strong defense in that round. I'm very happy with how that vertical play went out, or the denial of it, actually, when you think about it. The vertical play was shut down. That round was taken away immediately by peeking over towards that teller's window. In doing so, a huge kill from Tech Will shuts down that verticality. Yes, like you say, over the site, there's not much work behind it, but when you think towards how important servers and workshop was at the end game of that round, think about if you had a ram there being able to do vertical play. I think for Bales, just get straight on top of that floor. You cannot risk anything else. You can't risk peeking. Your number one job, get that verticality done. Looking towards the next round, though, Fisher's starting to take the lead. We're only round 4, though, so UCF definitely within the realms of possibility to crawl this back, start evening this, and even maybe take that favourable side of the half. This is their map pick, by the way, Carpi.
This is UCF's map?
Yep.
Ooh, yeah. UCF, you're gonna need to focus up a bit. I'm not gonna lie. You don't want to be losing your map pick. Especially when it's the start of the season, you know, you want to keep the mental game, because, like I say, Siege is a mental game as well as a physical game, right? If your team's morale is low, you're obviously not going to play as good as when your team's morale is high and happy and excited. You're just going to have a different mindset and mood. So, UFC, maybe they're just not really feeling it right now, but it's only round 4, UFC. You've got loads of time to pull this back. You can easily walk away with a 4-2 split if you play your cards right.
Located a bomb.
Yeah, and getting this information is absolutely vital. We've seen how they've approached some of these rounds before. I feel like something that was lacking a little bit was that cohesion. We saw it in round 1, but not in a couple of the others with these crossfires, with these post blinds. Right now, though, this is what I want to see. There's the information coming through. They're aware of this vertical take and Active. Able to find that opening pick is going to be a massive step into this round so far. Time already starting to tick down, but Tech Will looks to get aggressive. Will have to back off as the choke comes through, but very much aware that this pinch is going to come through.
Yeah,
the question is, for the side of Fisher, where are they going to come from? What side's going to push first? And how do we prioritize Astro?
Is a good point. You've got the Ram on the board, so you've got to hold up the stairs with your life, but UFC are just gunning for them right now. 2 C4s on the board, though, so that is 2 freebies if you play your cards right. Tech will looking to pop the canister there. That was going to waste about 25 seconds. The panic, though. Maui's going to pick off one into Scoob, and Tech Will's left all alone upstairs. He's going to be able to fight back and pick one onto Maui, leaving us back, but Bows will trade out Tech Will, leaving us in a 4 versus 2, but Bears just going to come back, pops back into the 3 versus 2, but the Rams are coming out. The verticality's in play. It's not looking good for Fishers right now.
Yeah, UCF, though, they have not secured that victory just yet. They're taking their time. They're looking towards the verticality. That's what they need. But for the side of Fisher, they're not playing on that side. They're not thinking, well, let's just turtle in. Let's let them do all this. No, they're thinking to contest. They have a player over towards Workshop. They have a player over towards those metal stairs. They are looking to not go out without fighting. Caleb is going to give it to them. Finds that pick. So Carpi all alone with that shotgun SMG combo. We'll hear that plant start to go down. Very much aware someone's going to be covering that main door. You have to rotate, but the vertical play is going to be holding them. As you can see, that player up above will start to get a little bit of damage. The position is called. Everyone's going to look towards these metal stairs. They know that rotate's going to come because who's going to beat that window? And as they do start to move upstairs, Fakino is going to close things down. UCF, a good attacking round, very much contrasting to what we've just heard. That's the round I want to see. That's the attack that I want to see from these teams. They isolated roamers. They dealt with that top floor in the first half of that round.
100%. UFC were much more composed on that round, I say. You know, they were focused. They were like, okay, look, this is how we win. Verticality. We're just going to open up the map. You know, they're going to panic, sorry. The Maestro, the Mute, they both had to move off site due to Bales, who was on the ramp, just opening up that floor. You saw it in the post-plant situation. He's holding it above. He's holding the door into sight, the entry, and he shot his foot. He got around. Mute tries to rotate around, obviously, and there's a crossfire. You know, there's not much to do there. Fishers, on the other hand, I reckon they might have gotten away with it if these canisters were in a different location, because there was a canister directly behind Tech Wall last round. Did you see it? It's basically where the B bomb chassis is currently, and it did kind of block him. It made him stuck because they popped it, and I believe he kind of got stuck. And you know, you can only vault out of small office from there. So I'd like to see Fishers like approach differently. You don't have to change site immediately, but they're gonna go for it anyway.
10 seconds left.
Yeah, I feel like going back to this top floor, they've lost it once, they've won it once. In terms of keeping that momentum from that second round and the last couple of rounds and not losing it, what would you realistically like to see, definitely in the first half of this round from the defense?
Well, I feel like UFC, they're now composed, so Fisher might struggle a little bit. I reckon we might see a 4-2 in the UFC's half, because Fisher, they're really quite pedantic. Is pedantic the word I'm looking for? You know, they're darting all over the place. They're holding angles, they're switching, they're holding angles, they're switching. They're not staying and just holding one angle for the rest of the round. They're switching, they're moving, they're constantly rotating. But Scoob is going to pick one onto Bale, so never mind, I may be completely wrong. Sheer aggression does work, I guess. Maui potentially looking to get the refrag. We can see where Scoob is, but he can't. He has no idea. This is going to be an absolute freebie for Maui, but he's able to pick it up, and maybe we'll take some damage as well. Ooh, Caleb being down there.
Ever worried about that refrag, Caleb's going to take some damage, but active on the repel is going to find Bear. Removes the dock off the board, the 1.5, the stims. That's so much utility, so much viability taken out of the round. But Maple's going to answer with a frag of their own. Takes away Caleb, takes away the heart breach. And now with the side of UCF, they only have a couple of realistic options. They are going to have to commit to this west side. Time starts to tick down. They're not in that same level of control that they have been in the last round, in the first round. They start to put the pressure onto Beavers. Looks over towards that archive side, aware that the position Maui is in here is such a vital one. While they're able to spot, the Thorn does a lot of damage. They're not able to find the frag. That, though, that's a deposit for later in the round. Time is ticking down. UCF, they're going to need every advantage as we approach the end game. UCF, though, taking their time to drone.
They are. They're composing a little more, so I feel like it might be slightly more favorable in UFC's hands here. But once again, Fisher, very pedantic players. Is that the right word, Muhcreedy? Pedantic? Am I using that correctly? You know how I can get maybe? Methodical? You know, they're just quirked up on the sauce. I'll tell you who is quirked up on the sauce, though. It's going to be Carpi as he finds a cheeky peek onto Mao. But Snako is going to be able to pop it back, leave us in a 2v2 scenario here. Just taking their time now. They've got 30 seconds on the board. In my opinion, you got loads of time to work with here. You still got 1 call on the board and 1 grenade. Loads of time.
Yeah.
Even 2 drones from Snako here. Ooh, that's not looking good for Carpi.
The nade does that damage, and well, Tekral still has that full HP, but time ticking down. The first frag's gonna go through. Snakeno gets a refrag, able to find a second one. UCF able to pick up another round back on that first site. Look at those frags. The first one, a beautiful shot, and from Fisher, it just comes down to the gunfights. I mean, the positioning was smart. You had the low HP player take that heart of the angle to hit. Then you had the higher HP player. Tekral was just playing just nearby, a little bit easier to hit. Honestly, that was such a very nice end round coming through, but all credit to Fisher. They brought it back into a very nice position for themselves. They nearly had it. It did just come down to the side of UCF being able to make that push, have that coordination. Like you said, still had that call on the board. They still had that nade. Util they didn't necessarily need, but they definitely could have used. And when you look at the positioning at the end of the round, Carpi,
yeah,
that would have been huge.
It would have been, but Snako is clearly the GOAT. He is him, as I would describe it. He brought it back. UCF, they were a little uncomposed towards the end there, but Snako, he was calm, he was composed, he knew where to look, where the refrag would be, and he pulled it off. So props to him, honestly, because I would definitely not be pulling that off.
I would have won it.
You would have won it?
I would have won it.
You would have won that, you sure?
Yeah.
I will pull up R6 tab right now.
Yeah, I believe that. Looking towards this next round, we are going to see Fisher take this round. Does he take the same site again? I don't really think this is a misplay. I mean, they've been there a couple of times now with mixed results. But certainly in that last round, that wasn't a set thing. That wasn't a possible win. But Maple there, able to get the down, will do the damage to active, won't secure the kill. But you've got to think, Astrid, like I said last round, that's a deposit for later in the round. That's a deposit for that end game fight.
It is. You don't want to be walking into any end game battles with like less than 100 HP. I'm going to be honest with you, because even if you don't hit that headshot, you can play it with body shots and maybe still be able to walk out of that alive. Once again, just taking our time, scoop down the stairs, taking off the drones. Oh, where's the drone economy? I can't see it. I think my camera's in the way here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 6 or 7 drones they got on the board. 3 taken off. In my opinion, that's really well played to them.
Yeah, learning to count with Carpi. I absolutely love it.
Welcome back.
But like you say, the drones, it is a huge aspect, because you think about the amount of information that's on the board. You think if they can drone out that Solace, that post plant gets a lot easier. But when Maple able to find a kill onto Maui, that ain't going to be the only thing. You're looking at Active trying to find another pick, trying to get revenge onto Maple. But it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not. You're holding a pixel. You've got no one to sort of herd any of like the Fisher players towards you. You know, they're going to see you're holding that long angle and they're not going to peek you. If they want to. I mean, you know, they might just say, screw it, I'm going to swing. But you probably shouldn't do that.
Well, I know exactly what you do, Carpi. And,
you're right. Oh, it's one that.
Yeah, that's why we're casting. Bees are able to find a kill onto Caleb, just compounding that advantage that Fisher has. Snake and Hope doesn't quite see the player because of the diffuser, but he is able to find it in the end. Maple. Oh, Maple going to get removed after finding that first pick, but the Dockers have time to get back up. Beezer is going to look for this. The Scoob's able to find Bales. Snake and Hope has to look for this gunfight, has to win it a second time. Looks for the shots, but isn't able to land it. And Scoob, all the way from break room with the SMG-11, is able to close out that round. Carpi, it's looking pretty balanced so far, but as we do go into the side swap, is that how we're going to see this second side play out?
I don't know. I want to see what Fisher have in the bag, because they have sheer aggression. Like it's not stopping that they've lost a round. Sorry, they've gone in there and they've just gone aggression. They've not lost a round and gone, oh, okay, you know what? Let's pull up a bit and go slightly more passive per se. They're just hitting it with pure aggression. Anyway, so we see the sound, the round swap here. 3-3, like you said, pretty even split. We've got Snako in that last round. You know, he was basically triple peak towards the end, but he had a lot of utility on him. I was watching, you know, in the little corner, he had one grenade, he had one drone. In my opinion, you can do a lot with that. You need to be using those nades, you know, whether it's early round, using your drones, getting your teammates to drone around, you going below, cooking them, chucking them up, tossing them, making verticality, or just even trying to kill a player with them. But Snako, each round I saw, he did have a nade in pocket, so maybe not the best use of utility from UCF. I guess we're going to have to see how they use it defensively, because you've got C4s on the board, you've got impact grenades, all do hefty amounts of damage when played correctly.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it works on the flippity flop, as you would say. Looking towards the defense side for UCF, they do also have that very extended roam. They do have a lot of pressure over towards the office side, because that is where a lot of teams do like to come through. I've noticed a trend in the old border where a lot of teams, just before it got changed to this map, started liking that Archives take. That has just shifted into that default take for this new map. And as such, Office has definitely seen a much heavier presence in a lot of the games that you play. Because of that, I can expect to see these roamers playing over towards those positions, looking to upset that control that attackers can get up really quickly. Fisher, though, they haven't really overexposed that much. Sounding a little bit of hard breach coming through, but Scoob's able to find that first gun, find that first pick. Will be refragged, keeping things at an even 4-4 at the moment.
Yep, 4-4. So even Stevens, 3-3, 4-4. It's all looking pretty even right now. You're not seeing a whole load of aggression from Fisher. They've picked a spot, they're pushing it, but they're not. They're going slowly. They're biding their time. Are we going to see the 20-second meta potentially in play here? I'm not too sure. Still got the player up in office, so you need to get rid of him before you start thinking about rotations or even getting control here. But Caleb is going to be forced to push back, potentially go for the swing here as he sticks himself behind the castle barricade. He's going to be stuck in the corner after this, and I'm not sure how well this is going to play. He's going to try to crouch it out. Okay.
Maybe here it falls on the attackers to definitely do their droning. Carpi, she's over towards Archive side, but Snake is able to find Tech will. Beezer finds that refrag, puts us in that 3 versus 3. A minute on the clock, and things are starting to ramp up just a little bit more. That 90 position with the shield, though, it's been a position Fisher have held a lot on their defensive side, but it's one UCF are trying to take themselves. Right now, Util going out, hardwall's getting breached. The angle's going to be utilized by UCF. They have the opportunity to really take advantage here and shut down the attackers. Let's just see how well it's going to go. Maui able to find one, takes down Beezer. The last 2 attackers have to look for this push. Cappy's looking at that long angle. She's not able to find those kills just yet, but it might open things up for Maple. Stop them peeking, suppress the enemy, and let Maple get up close and personal. She's going to get taken down by Maple, but Cappy comes in with a refrag. And suddenly, it's Bales and Cappy in that 1 versus 1. The plan starts to go down. There's no C4 in pocket, but Bales knows. Time's ticking down. They're going to stick the plan, go for the swing. And as you get the kill, that is UCF going to take their first defensive round, Carpi.
Yep, UCF, they're going to take it. 4-3 now. Fishers, they went for the east side take, and they were confident with it, and they did not want to rotate. I'm not sure, you know, you could have done a cheeky little rotate, you know, just dropped one of your players, you know, pushed them over to the west side, I would have reckoned, and he might have been able to sweep the 1 mile off his feet there, 110%. You got all 4 players, you know, pushing east. You're gonna, in comms, you're gonna be like, okay, this is an east side take. Your brain's gonna sort of like tunnel vision towards the east. You're gonna be like, okay, this is where they're coming from. We need to be aware of east stairs, breaching the wall, potentially rushing into Archive and just going for the plant here. You could have rotated a player round the back, and they might have been able to pick off, or even just disperse UCF out more, if that makes sense. Push them away, you know, make the refrag opportunity less viable.
I feel like in that round, the post-plant positioning, or at least that very late round positioning, was instrumental for UCF. like we saw, that player over towards Beepers could shift over towards 90 if that call did come through. That there was a player over towards there. Maybe a bulletproof cam over towards 90 would have been huge. But then you also have the players over towards that long angle. I mean, if you put in a Rooney or somebody like that, or someone like a Dog, they can shut that all down. That wasn't the case. Maple was able to find those frags, had a really good opportunity there. But at that point in the round, I think the positioning was really where UCF won it.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Maple, 10-5 and only just entered the second phase of the game here. He's putting up numbers here. He's showing he is a force to be reckoned with. On the other hand, UCF, fairly dispersed. NECC, he's popping out there 9-4, just behind Maple. So I feel like we've got two heads battling, Maple versus NECC right now.
Yeah, I do feel like that is the case. Rarely do we see these two really go up against each other, but for me, UCF, when they start a round strong, that's typically I'd expect to see them winning it at this point. But if they're not able to do that, I think it tends to go the way of Fisher if they don't get those early opening gunfights. Right now, though, Bales are going to avoid taking any of them as the information comes through from the Pulse. Just back up, just play it safe, waste time, make them do that roam clear. You don't have to worry about that. The Pulse is still there feeding the information. You still have the C4. And while that round does start to go out, this is what we talked about. The verticality coming through. As Moe, I think, starts to rip the C4, is able to find Tech Will. And the yarn is taken away, so the nades are gone. But that Ram of Maple and that high frag count is still on the board.
Yep, that's only one C4 down as well. You still got 2 on the board out of 4. 4 C4s is quite a lot, I'm not going to lie. So if I was Fisher right now, I would be very careful with the verticality play, because 4 C4s, you see one's prepped there, it is ready to go. There it goes, detonate. It's not going to pick up anyone though, just going to make the hole wider, I guess, and now he might struggle a little more, you could say. Scoob isn't looking for the pre-placed C4s, I've noticed. He's not actively on IQ's gadget looking there. Beezer just opening up the floor, going to take a little damage to the round, but Scoob is going to pick one onto active, and Maple swings back onto Snakehole, leaving us with a 4 versus 3.
Yeah, while that verticality was being used by the defense, you can see how effective it is going on that attacking side. But Scoob able to pick up another couple of frags there. Will put Bales in that 1 versus 4 situation. The Vector with the 1.5, it is by no means undoable. But when you're unable to hit the shots, it's not going to happen. Scoob gets taken off the board, but the plant's going down. They know where the defender is. They know the angles they have to cover. And the best part is they've already made the verticality. Bales starts to move forward, looks for these gunfights, is able to take out the bug. But doesn't they know the player's upstairs. You have to take that verticality. Right now, Carpi and Maple just lock in. One player look at the vert, one player keep an eye on the road. This is where you see those flank drones on the right-hand side. This is where they come in massively. Information going out on both sides, where these players are, where they've been last spotted. And Bales, working off a little bit of old information, knows where they are, but is unable to find a killer to Carpi. She's going to close out this round and bring this back onto the level playing field.
Carpi just going for the prone position, being like, look, I'm going to play my gunfight out here. If I die, you swing me. We got each other covered. There's a good little bit of communication there. Although I was slightly worried when Bales picked off 2 of them, and then I think it was Carpi that was looking through the hatch, unaware until Bales shot his gun and immediately head swiped towards the door. You know, if I want to look back on that round again, I'd say UCF were really quite dispersed. Like, a lot of players, around, bouncing around, but Fisher, if they droned properly, they had 8 drones on the board. You know, if you keep one just near sight, take a look at sight. You could have easily dashed in a window there, and it could have been a retake game for UCF. They're very dispersed is what I noticed when playing that site. You know, everyone was out towards the west. There was almost basically no one towards the eastern side / site. That's what I seem to be noticing.
Fisher were then able to play very heavily into it. They went for that roam clear, like you say. They were able to find a couple of really good kills through that verticality. I was worried that it would work against them, especially with that pulse, especially with that hatch. They were able to see if anyone tried to get up through the hatch, but no. It's something UCF didn't really take advantage of. It seems like they wanted to play off these C4s,
5 seconds remaining.
and
Yeah.
I think they gave up pretty quickly.
Well,
Attackers objective.
yeah, they had 4
locate a bomb
C4s
and
on the
defuse
board.
it.
They had a couple pre-places and a couple, toss it up, let's see what we get. They were able to pick one player off with the C4. And once again, use 3 C4s and you pick, one player off. That's still a player less that you have to deal with. You might just toss it up. You might use 2, 3 just to get this one person. But at the end of the day, that's one less person you have to deal with in a post-plant scenario or, the last 20 seconds of the round. Fisher just looking to take the wall now. Ooh, a Brava, Muhcreedy. I know you'll be interested in this play, but Snakeo's gonna slow it all down and kill Carpi here, taking her off the map. Nomad off the board, but
There you go.
that's it. Bravo and play. I saw Snakeo looking at that frost map like, wait, can he Bravo this?
This is where you really look at towards Fisher shutting down and taking advantage of UCF being spread out. I mean, look at that. The Captain Trap's just done so much damage and not a single bullet was fired by
Bomb
the
located
attackers.
by attackers.
Using those Cates, taking those Capcans and swapping them over to the attacking side, it just shuts down the freedom of movement that you can't afford to lose as a defender. This is where if you suspect the Bravo on the drone is on the boards, you might want to position them in somewhere where your defenders should realistically never be playing. Think some windows, think external doorways. You shouldn't be peeking those anyway. You shouldn't be jumping through them. There's no risk. There's only reward in that case. And if it gets changed, well, then that's a Bravo usage wasted. However, though, looking towards this round, the damage has been done. Snake and Host struggling, and that does have half HP. Bale's going to get down by another one. I'm not too sure if they're aware of where all these Captain Traps are. But Maui, able to find Scoob with that beautiful SMG on the Frost, will be looking to keep them in the game. They still have that 2-player advantage, even though Bales is on the ground and is effectively out for the count. Right now, Fisher, they want to go for this plan. They're going to jump in. They're going to go for it. There's no vertical play. There's only Maple covering the rotate. And then, if they're playing smart, there's going to be a player on the door. The verticality goes, though. And Tekra will find one. Beza gets another. And the Capcan traps again. Gonna confirm the kill onto Bales. And now it's just a case of post-plan. They hear the C4 rip. They're aware of where these players are heading towards. One on balcony, one on the main door. Now they just need to play it careful. You need to cover Tekwell. You need to make sure that player is safe. But in the same vein, if you're Beza, you need to keep it on Diffuser. That's exactly what's happened. The kill comes through and Tekwell closes things out.
Wow. That round was truly, if there's one word I can use to describe it, is almost explosive. It was instantaneous.
Really?
As soon as, maybe explosive, then a slight pause and then back to being explosive, honestly. We had them open breach, run in, detonation of Capcan traps, 2 C4s went up into the air and detonated as well. You had players getting downed and damaged left, right, and center. Then, all of a sudden, towards the mid-round, it stopped, it slowed down. Fisher, communicated, rebalanced themselves, got up on their feet, and then Beezer was like, fuck it, I'm jumping in. He jumped into that window with, I don't even know what compelled him to jump in. I guess the call must have come above, being like, I've got your rotate, jump in, let's do this, let's make a play out of this. And
attackers need to locate
I guess
bomb.
it worked out for them. They did risk it for the biscuit, as we would say over in the UK.
Okay, and something noticeably immediately is UCF. They've gone back to this top floor. They don't have that Capcom on the board. They only have those operators where you can't really do that physical damage. Something like that can't happen again. Think, Carpi, that Solace was left down in CCTV for the end game of the round. You got to think about how important that is, obviously. They can go above, they can deal with that post plan. That's another body when we did see Fisher try and take that vertical control. And I think, looking towards how UCF would like to play this round, I think this is certainly a step in the right direction. They're thinking about the operator lineups, what worked, what didn't, why didn't it work? Where can we prioritize where our players are going to be? Now, Seikino is feeling very confident and with very good reason. 11-6 at the moment, tied with Maple for that top frag position, even though Scoob is on the way to try and catch things up. We'll be looking for that gunfight. We'll be trying to make get that early pick on the board, but that's not going to happen that way. They have to find another way. I think retreating is the way to go. Maple, unfortunately, going to be leaving the round. I think we have just hit that 30-second mark before they jumped out. So I think we're going to have to play it through, Carpi.
Yeah, that's not particularly great, losing a player to, I guess, connection issues. Already leaving you in a 4v5, and obviously you're going to be like, oh, okay, what's just happened? You're a little confused, but Snako is going to take Beezer. I'm surprised. What? There's no way. There's pure aggression coming out here. Active going to take off Scoop's head, leaving us in a 5 versus 2. This round, we've barely gotten into it, and it's almost over here.
Carpi, they've been at the Carpi School of Gaming. They've been looking at your VODs. Now, Tekla will get an 8 out, will find Sneckenho, but still that 2-player deficit is a massive one to try and overcome. Tekla trying to get another one, will be taken down by the players that nearby on that 90 stairs, or that 90 hallway. In doing so, UCF, they found that opening, they found these advantages, and they just collapse entirely upon it. Look at the lines of sight created. Alongside with these reinforced walls means that UCF, you can play that position. You do not have to worry. You know that round is very confidently yours, especially with that attacking player being taken out so early into the round. You look at that and you look at the player with the least kills on the board and you say, right, that's your pick. You've got a new kill. Well done.
Yeah. You know, also props to Techwell here, because I actually, we watched him. He chucked out a grenade. He's using his utility here. I want to see more utility from the attacking side. You've got last round. Was it Beezer? Who was on the thermite, I believe, or the round before that when they darted into sight for the plant. 3 flashbangs. You have ample opportunities to use these flashbangs. Don't keep them in your pocket.
Defenders, protect your bombs from
Coordinate
being
with your
used by
team. Be like,
attackers.
okay, I'll flash, you go for the swing. Let's do this. You've got ample utility. People think that utility solely lies on defense sometimes because they have defending gadgets. You've got the Goyo canisters wasting 25 seconds. You've got Malusi, the Wubs. They're going to slow you down. They're going to make noise. They're going to direct players towards you. You've got Legion Mines, who now instantaneously you take, is it 10 damage, I think? And
Yeah, you take 10 damage on contact.
You've got all of these gadgets. And you think, okay, ample amounts of utility on defense, but you have ample amounts of utility on attack, even if it's not your primary gadget, your secondary gadget. 2 grenades. You've got 9 flashbangs on the board and 2 smokes. All secondary usage. I don't see a Jaeger or Romai in sight. I cannot stress this enough. You need to use the utility. But Bravo already on it, hacking a Wub, and Caleb's gonna have to get rid of it and the camera. So good usage of the
You
drone.
really have to think the importance of that drone taking that utility away. Suddenly, that's a lot of information given away. You don't know that player's pushing main now. Bale's able to find the opening pick. Well, okay, you made up for it. You've taken away the thermite of all operators. But now you have one less piece of information. That information can win or lose a round. And as soon as Sneckenho and Bales gets taken out from this position, which they will, when you do exactly what they say, Carpi, you get that nade in, you get that frag. Well, things are going to get made a lot harder when we look towards the end of the round. Right now, though, living in the here and the now, we can see Mui trying to make something happen. Not going to happen. Otep will finding a second pick off the board. Things very, very tight as we're looking for the first match point in this series so far. 1 minute 45 on the clock, and Active is looking to close things down, looking to bring it back and give them another opportunity to the round. Now, player is over towards open. This player could be a massive one, and that is going to be the case as Scoob takes away Active off the board. Now, on the defensive side, you have Pulse playing down below and Malusi up above. A very, very difficult spot to be in.
You still have these two hacks left on the Bravo drone as well, so you could trick a Legion Mine,
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
potentially turn a couple cameras, but Snako gonna go for this peek, and he's gonna find it onto Techwall, leaving us in a 2v2 with a minute left. Loads of time to work with once again. You've got Oh, you got one drone. You've got one drone to work with, but that doesn't matter. Scoob needs no drones. He's going to find one head, but Snakeo peeking right back for the refrag, leaving us in a 1v1 scenario. Less than a minute on the clock here. Carpi!
Oh!
No! Ah, Carpi.
Doing the due diligence, shooting the first one, but not in time to get the second. You really hate to see it, but that round was determined a lot earlier. I mean, I really expected to see that go for the Fisher side. I mean, that attack was aggressive. It was calculated. The utility usage was there, Carpi. They were able to push out these players with the util. They were able to win a lot of these gunfights. The positioning was definitely there, and they were in positions that they could refrag. So they had that verticality. Okay, sure. They lost Scoob over towards open area. Well, they lost Scoob over towards open area, but they still had that pressure. They still had the opportunity to deal with them one at a time. They had one upstairs, one downstairs. That's what they did. Unfortunately, that frost mat obviously came into play. I think that round could have gone either way. It just came down to very split-second decisions where we just see Fisher start to come out on top. Very exciting for me, Carpi, because I do think it's an OT moment.
An OT moment, you would say?
Yeah.
We do like our OT moments. Well, I'd say we'd like them when we call them. You know, it's an OT moment if you're winning, and then you have to call an OT moment because you want to go into OT. You want more rounds played, right? You know, OT moment.
I mean, these teams want to win.
Yeah, I could agree with you, but back to the talk of, like you said, we did see Tekwo using the grenades out there, able to find one with it. Perfect usage of utility right there. Snakeo, I believe this might have been mentioned a couple of weeks ago in EUL. This is how you should use Solace. You shouldn't be reinforcing. You shouldn't be like looking to make a rotate. You should purely be looking to take their drone economy into the market. And he's done that. He's taken 4 drones off the board.
It's the same with Mozzie. You don't put those drones straight away. You take them off the board, you put them down. That's passive.
Yeah.
You are giving your defensive side the most opportunities to succeed by taking out this information. Yeah.
I mean, you could argue with the, placing your Mozzie pest or getting drones. You could argue, oh, we can have pre-placed cameras, almost like Valkyrie, where the defenders aren't going to know where they are. But at the end of the game, drone economy is going to come through a late stage. There you go. Scoob having his drone taken off, but Twitch almost immediately refragging it there. Tekwo, he's going to cook one up. You going to be able to find it? I reckon he's far long gone. Miles moved.
Yeah, and you got to look at UCF. They've got to play this very, very flexibly. They have to back up and then push forward. They cannot play that hardball, and in doing so, they give the attackers a very strong chance to push forward. The nade goes through. Maui has to drop back. There's no ADSs. There's no magnets from the Wamai. And because of that, now Maui's in a situation over towards Metal where they're going to drop down. They're going to be able to find a kill, but you don't know. Scoob could have found it. In this case, not going to happen. A beautiful drop shot coming through, but the verticality fully in control of Fisher. We will lose the second player as Tekwo gets taken down by the C4. The vert can begin, but Moe's able to find another one. This is what we wanted to see, Carpi, with the pulse, but it comes in the form of the black eye cameras.
They are getting the information, and I'm not going to lie, Fisher's... You're going to be kicking yourself. You've got an IQ on the board. You should be able to get rid of these black eye cams. You should be able to spot the Solace when she's using her gadget. Pre-placed C4s as well. Should be able to spot them. Get rid of them. Give UCF the least amount of intelligence to work off. Maple just gonna swing around the corner because they're sort of panicking now. It's match point. There's less than a minute. It's a 2v4 situation.
Yeah. And you gotta remember, this isn't a vent bomb site. This is bathroom tellers. This is the roam clear that they've really started to fall a bit short on. This is where they really need to make that effort back. It's by no means undoable and impossible.
Yeah.
But it's very, very difficult because you look at the positioning of the defense. The crossfires are there. The workshop, the vent player. I don't know.
You could argue UCF right now, you may be able to potentially sweep this valve off their feet and take sight. They're not playing close together. Look at them.
It has to be done perfectly.
It does.
Even towards these two players, Solid. Snakeo knows that they're going in. They just go for the peek. Cabby gets taken down. Ho finds Maple, but not before Caleb gets taken off the board. As such, Carpi, we will see a 7-5 victory in our first map of border UCF. They definitely came close to closing it out a few times, but Fisher, they did not let them get it by any easy means. That's map 1. It was UCF's map pick, and Carpi, I'm very interested to see how Cav Dostoyevsky's going to go.
Yeah, 110% defender-sided map, you could argue, but yet again, multiple repels, multiple windows. Active, he likes his long angles. You know, could we see him sitting up on a repel and just waiting there for the whole round, getting his team to push the players towards him, herd, all stuff like that. But let's look back on border for just a quick second. We were quite back and forth until the half. And then UCF took a leap forward. You know, it was a big back and forth into that first round, into that fourth round, sorry. And then UCF, like I said, took a leap forward. They started to get their confidence. They started to know what they were doing. The passion was flowing. They were there. They were there in the moment, and they took the rest of the rounds.
I definitely think that being UCF's map means Fisher, they're in a very good stead to head into their own. They were able to very much contest the strategies, contest the gunplay that we saw. I think we were on a very level, even playing field, just looking at week 1 of the Legends division. So very excited for what is going to be coming up in our series. But for now, we are going to be taking a very short break. Make sure not to go anywhere. Make sure that you're back here, because before long, Carpi, we're going to get back into some more amazing Siege.
That's right, but this time we're heading to the cold depth of Russia. All right, my gamers, you join us in NECC Esports for the Legends League with our second map of tonight. On tonight's cards, you have UCF Knights versus Fisher Falcons. You've already seen them play on border, but now we're going to take it to the cold depths of Russia on Cafe Dostoyevsky. So I reckon we just say screw it and hop into it, right, Muhcreedy?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I look towards Cav Dostoyevsky. This is a map that, unlike Border, I feel like it's one that's very ingrained in a lot of teams. It's very bread and buttery. Look towards our third map, going to be Oregon. I think Fisher, they've gone for a very different situation. I mean, we looked at UCF and they said, okay, well, we want to go Border. We want to start out strong. Let's take them to an off pick, maybe. Yes, it worked out. I'm not entirely convinced that that's as well as I want it to. That went as well as I would like it to if I was on the UCF side. But going into Cav Dostoyevsky, this is your general map. This is where you do expect to see a lot of teams know exactly what they're doing. This is where the basics really need to be nailed down. And then you can start to worry about just adding on a couple of little extra things. But it's a very, very simple map. It's very core of it, but it can be difficult to deal with. How these teams are going to react to each other is what I really want to see. Fisher going to be hard sticking that Ying ban. I mean, that's what we saw last game. They just might really not like that operator, or really don't fancy bringing a ward into somebody.
I feel like they know the UCF are aggressive, and they don't want to give them the Ying to play into their cards. You know, other operators you could argue might be a better instance, like the Dokkaebi that we saw active on, but I don't really know. It's between those two, really. Fenrir coming up on the ban. We saw him banned on border, so we're not going to get him seen used again. I do wonder if we go to a decider map, will we see him be used, or is he just going to get banned out again? Final ban for map 2. What are we looking at? Amira. Once again, nothing really changing apart from the Osa is now unbanned and Flores is in for the ban. I wonder why. He's got me questioning, because I feel like Osa might be a better pick for Cafe.
I think just the utility that an operator like Flores brings to the board. That's 4 Terror drones. Obviously, once you decide that it's going to go off, it's bulletproof. Think about clearing positions like Pixel, Top White, maybe even Cocktail. I mean, these are very, very high value positions that you need to be able to deal with. Having a Flores drone can take away a lot of the risk in dealing with it. And as a defender, you simply cannot allow that. Looking at UCF, they're saying, well, we're going to play Pixel. We need to play it. They know that. So we need to get rid of this operator because they can counter us. if we play it the way we want to, then we have a much better chance. If they're able to just util drone us out, then that's horrible. It's something that we saw in the last map. Wasn't many Jaegers or Mice brought. And we saw that the util forced these players out of these high-value positions. And in doing so, that's when the attackers were able to take advantage. That's when we really saw rounds start to get defined.
Yeah, 100%. There was no counter to flashes, smokes, or grenades. Like you said, no Jaeger, no. There was a little bit of why, but there wasn't enough consistency for us to label it down and go, okay, they're consistently. But never mind. Snako off to spawn peeking start as he takes off Visa, who's on the line. So there goes 3 drone scans, if you will. How has he killed them?
I'm not entirely sure.
Is he gone for the bathroom spawn peek there? Is that what we saw?
That's a huge spawn peek, like you say. I mean, taking away that line, that's a lot of aggressive utility taken off the board. A very aggressive operator. And that's something that I think Fisher have really been relying on. They've had that opportunity with that operator. Bale's going to find Tech will take them off the board as well. That is one of your key players, your key entry frags being removed. Now Bale's looking down below, is looking to just get another player. If you're able to do that, you can shut down the round already, but Maui's going to be the one to do it. Maple taken off the board. Carpi now in that 2 versus 5 alongside Scoob. Looks towards those white stairs, realizing these attackers, that these defenders are going to get a lot more aggressive. Maybe you can use it. You're able to find a kill onto Bales. And now Maui going to position themselves in a way that they can contest. But remember, it goes both ways, Astro. Scoob starts to do that, starts to take control. And this is where your defenders might start to have their heads turned a little bit. Scoob's able to find one, looks for the second over towards heaven. The skeleton key comes out. Finds the pick, but the Thorn gadget pulls them out of position as the Gon 6 goes for the finish. It's allowed the defenders to get into a position to contest, but a 2 versus 2, this is much more in favor of Fisher than it was 20 seconds ago.
Oh, Carpi, she's going to be taken out by Caleb there. What a round by Scoob there, just running in, able to pick off a couple. He gunned for that Thorn. As soon as he saw he got the down, he was over there with the Gon 6, like, you're not getting the revive. I'm not letting it happen. I do reckon they could have brought that back. I reckon a little more communication, they would have brought it back. But then again, when you're in the moment, you know, Scoob on the bug, sprinting towards the Thorn. Lost for words here. Sprinting towards the Thorn, you're panicking, I guess, sort of in head. You're like, okay, gotta get this kill. What am I going to do next? Where am I going? You know, I don't know where they're positioned. Where am I looking? And I guess that sort of might have played, that probably did play into UCF's hands,
Attackers
to be
need
honest
to
with you.
locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, losing that opening pick, Kav Dostoevsky is a very formidable map to attack, especially before you get inside that building. If that happens and you lose a player already, especially one of your designated entries, one of your designated aggressive ops that try and force these players into defensive positions, or at least just force them to keep their heads down. That is such a heavy hit to your lineup that Fisher, they really struggled to bring anything back. Like, they found a couple of refrags, but nothing really meaningful in that first half of the round. I mean, yeah, we saw a couple of kills, but they didn't really have much impact, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I'd say going back to the mental side, being spawn peaked almost within 10 seconds of the round starting isn't the best. Snako, you're going to do it again, aren't you? You're going to run.
Oh, yeah.
110%.
Yeah, look at him.
Oh. If he looked more to his left, I reckon he would have had another kill in his bag. He's in it, though.
Like you say, though.
He's cooking. I reckon he's listening to Jimmy Cooks. I'm just saying.
It's got to come up sooner or later. Tekral sends an 8 out, isn't able to find that kill, but you are aware of a play towards Coat. Gets aggressive, but isn't ready for active with the crossfire. Very good defensive play, very good communication and crossfire. But when you look towards a map like this, having a player in VIP is something you should definitely be prepared for, if not expect, when you'll go for a take on that bottom floor, Carpi.
100%. Once again, Fishers, they're going into a 4v5 within the first minute of the round. Maple, he's made his way downstairs here. He could make a very impactful kill onto Active here. They're able to join him out. There you've got Active. He's going to be able to pick one off from Visa. He is going to be stopped for the second. This should be a freebie from Maple. There you go. Perfecto. Bringing it back to a 4 versus 3. Maui is, though, aware. And Bales is going to be able to pick one back up onto Maple. The little flank coming down there. 2v4 once again. It's not looking great for Fisher, especially considering this is their map pick. But Scoob says no. Not today, Carpi. Not the caster's curse as he gets Maui, giving them a little more room to work with. Caleb just holding Bales' back here.
But as you've just seen, you do still have the player of Snake and Ho up and dining. We've talked about the importance of a Solace. We know how important this can be, and holding that open wall, being there as that contingency to these players being taken down over towards VIP. That's invaluable. Having the opportunity to contest this plan is massive. Scuba looking through that red wall is going to find Bales. I don't know if they know about Caleb. Carpi certainly is curious. We'll get a drone forward. Caleb, all you need to do is swing, and you can take the diffuser right here and now. A refrag might come through, but no credit to Fisher. Their due diligence is being done. They're looking towards the site. They're looking for the droning, unaware that Caleb is able to give away the information of these players. The two players start to go for a ping. Caleb gets taken down. Scoob just going to push it aside. Carpi quick to follow. And now it's all going to come down to Snake, in the 1 versus 2. Goes in towards that freezer. Looks for the players planting. Isn't going to be able to pull out the gadget on this one. Just going to have to play it off the audio. The crossfire's there. Scoob. Beautiful cover. Beautiful game sense coming from the attackers. They knew exactly where the Solace was coming from. They knew exactly where they needed to plant and exactly where they needed to hold the post plant. Something that feels very different to what we saw in some of the rounds from both sides on board. Very refreshing to see in that round.
Talk about coordination. If I could sum that round up, that was coordination from Scoop and Carpi there, 100%. Just very coordinated, and they knew what they were doing. They didn't panic. They took their time, they pushed in slowly, they used their gadgets, they used their utility, they cleared out, they used, it was a flawless take from those 2 particular players. So props up to them. UCF are definitely going to be kicking themselves right now, though. You shouldn't. Oh yeah. You should not be losing a 4 versus 2. I believe it was, I can't remember who said it, but I believe someone said that, I think it was a G2 team, the Rainbow Six team. They said, sometimes we'll be in 4v2 situations. We'll let one person, maybe chase after a frag or a 4v1. Don't let them chase after a frag. But then those other core 3 players have to maintain their positions. They have to maintain the mentality as it is like a 3 versus 3, a 5 versus 5. They have to maintain the coordination. They have to. They have to stay in place. They can't go, actually, numbers advantage goes to my head, I swing it, I get peaked. Numbers advantage again goes to, another player on my team, goes to their head, they swing it, they get peaked. That's what the attackers are looking for in those scenarios when they've got player deficits. They're looking for, the defenders to let it go to their head almost.
Well, yeah, exactly. Looking towards this next round, we are returning to this bottom floor site. That top one is still locked, and UCF, they're not really fancying going up to that reading dining room at the moment. Now, I don't really think this is a misplay, especially as Second was able to find that opening pick onto the head of Maple. They nearly won this round. This was a very close round in that last one. Not as close as the first one, but within this round, they were able to bring it very, very close to victory. Maui able to find Scoob will add a second kill onto the board. Not unlike what we saw before, it is Visa who's able to find another pick. Bring us in 3 versus 3. Tech will looking towards that bar, looking to open things up, take out the frost, the whole site could open up, but the defenders have rallied around and found that frag. Caleb to fall as well, but not before the damage is done. Visa with the EMP looking to get the wall open, but now the crossfire can come through. Staking Ho knows with the pre-fire, finds Visa, and now just has to look for one. Carpi all on her lonesome over towards White Stairs, takes some damage, steals some back, but not enough to really make it back in the the armor. Pre-fire does come through from the side of Maui. The crossfire from the defenders is beautiful here. They know these key lanes that they need to hold, and they are going to do it. Maui aware that rotate can come through to code. But he's just going to let Carpi push forward. It's going to be Snecano closes things down with holding that double door. And it's, like you said, Carpi, a very difficult situation to be in. But they were able to bring it back.
Yeah, they managed to bring it back that round. But there's something just going on with UCF right now. They have player advantage, and then they'll have it for the majority of the round. And all of a sudden, click of the fingers, it's swapped. You're in a 2v2. You're in a 2 versus 1 all of a sudden. You need to look back on those rounds and ask yourself, you need to be thorough with yourself. You need to ask yourself, why is this happening? How are we going from a 4 versus 2 to a 2 versus 2 to a 2 versus 1? What's going wrong here? Because if they're playing it correct for almost just over half the round, and then all of a sudden something clicks and they're losing players left and right, and it doesn't make sense to me almost, because if you're doing, you're playing half the round correct, you're not losing players, you're holding the angles, you're using your positions, you guys use your utility, doing everything correctly. What's changing around, the minute mark, the minute 30 mark, that's causing you to lose mass amounts of players? It's gonna rumble in my head for a bit. I'm not gonna lie to you, Muhcreedy. It's a question that's gonna get me thinking this round.
It's a question I think all teams should be thinking about when they find themselves in these situations. It's something that, looking towards your next couple of play days, this is something you might want to think about, might want to talk about. What happens when we get rattled? I mean, what happens when things don't necessarily go our way at the start? What happens when they do? A lot of these rounds are getting quite close for comfort, like you say. Steak and Ho, though, is going to yet again try and bring us back in the lead for the side of UCF. Looks towards that spawn peak. Looks for a second one. I mean, for me once, shame on me. Twice, shame on you. Steak and Ho, you might not be able to get away with it, because Maple's coming up these red stairs. Maple very much aware as the drones come through. Now he's able to find the opening pit, but the shotgun's on the stairs. Maple doesn't know that their crowd starts to move forward, looks for the free kill, but forgets about the red stairs. Caleb's able to find that pick and puts us in a 5v2. Beezer and Cabby now have to bring something magical back to get this round.
100%. That was I was sat in my seat. Maple just couldn't hear the mute. Deadly still, and then bang, he just pounced it. But Maui's gonna be able to pick one onto Beezer, and it's Carpi just left in a 5 versus 3 scenario. A 1 versus 5, sorry. But never mind, she's gonna turn it to a 4 versus 1. Pre-fires coming out left and right. Not gonna be able to find anything as of yet. UCF still have the ability to lose this.
I could go for an ace.
I could see it coming. I believe Carpi can do this, and yes, she's starting to prove a point here.
Yeah, she's starting to hear the music.
I believe she is. This could be an Oppenheimer moment.
Yeah. Hit film, brought into canon in the Rainbow Six Siege universe. Who knows? Carpi right now, like you say, in that 1 versus 3 situation, already taken 2 down, so, well, another 3 shouldn't be too hard. You've already done almost half the work already. These air jabs coming down are going to give you that little bit more freedom, but you have to remember that's not going to protect you from the peak. Only Carpi's going to be able to do that. Finding Bales, finding the head, and now with 46 seconds left on the clock, going to have to find 2 more. Position is going to be key here, and that's what the defenders realize. Active swinging, the double peak came through from the defenders. The call that they're not in pixels, so they've got to be in bathroom, and that is going to be an offensive round. But no sweat off Carpi's back. That was really good. They isolated 3 roamers, or 3 players, not even. 2 of them roaming. 1 of them was on site. There wasn't that refrag potential from UCF. That's what bit them in the backside and allowed Carpi to really start getting that momentum. And you cannot allow that, simply put.
Yeah, you can. Carpi was there. She was swinging left and right. She was getting the kills that she needed to get. And UCF were just sort of letting it happen. Like you said, there was no refrag opportunities for them. They were just giving Carpi the 1v1s, and She won her once.
Defenders, protect your
It's as
bombs from
simple as
being
that.
defused by
Although
attackers.
we're now, we're getting a feel out for this game right now, right? We're round 5, 3 rounds towards UCF, and a round towards Fisher. 2 more rounds till the switch. Fisher, I mean, Cafe is just one of these maps where being on
Bomb located
defense
by attackers.
can give you such a major advantage. It truly can. So, at the switch, are we going to see a 5-1? Are we going to see a 4-2? Or Fisher going to kick themselves and go, look,
10 seconds left before
we know
insertion.
that they crumble towards the end. Let's take it slow. Let's move them across. Let's do the vert. Let's play like we were playing on border. Because it's like they've completely become different people within a 5-minute break.
I do expect to see us landing on that 4-2 split. I mean, UCF, yeah, they've been getting these leads. Yes, they've been able to win out these rounds where things started to not go that way, but they brought it back. But how many times can you really get away with it? A lot of these rounds have come very, very close. Can you really afford to keep trying and keep giving Fisher these opportunities? One of them is going to stick eventually. You need to. I'd really look towards locking that down, and maybe as a team working through what happens in our post plan, what happens in our end game, how are we going to deal with this? What processes do we have in place to make sure that we aren't going to give up any objectives, any advantages that we might have?
Yeah.
Looking towards this top floor, they are going to have to drone out the vast amount of utility that's been committed. This, from UCF, is going to very much be a very defensive setup. It's going to be one that says, right, we're going to waste your time. We're going to make you drone. We're going to make you burn utility. You're going to have nothing for this plan.
Yeah, they've got the Jaeger in play. Tekkel's going to take a fair amount of damage. I believe that might be from his own grenade, but Maui swept off the board by Beezer. Looking to push towards bathroom as Caleb picks one onto Maple. Leaving us in a 4v4 scenario. The Jaeger going to swing round. He's going to do a little bit of damage here. Beezer just panicking a little, but is he going to be able to pick up the scoop? He's going to pick up one onto Caleb, though.
Yeah.
That's going to leave us in a 3 versus 4. Bales has managed to get away with his life there. Very lucky, because Beezer, he had him on the ropes there. They had each other on the ropes.
Yeah,
And
but how
Scoop
long?
is off. He's off. He's disconnected.
Oh, Bees is able to find that pick. Getting on very, very risky there. Might not have been able to protect the teammate if you're just a couple of seconds later. But now, the defensive split is going to be instrumental in this round. Snaking out on their own. We'll go for the peak. Able to find Carpi. Has to try and find another 2, but that's not going to happen. Beezer finds a triple. And now active all on their lonesome. Sitting down towards dining or whatever. I've got to put a shift in. I'm on this defensive site. And I have no backup. This is the armor. This is the last line in the sand. Verticality can be started by the attackers, but I think they're going to just get the information, find this player, and push together. Active with those footholds to make sure that doesn't happen as they find the pick onto the buck. Yana wants to come nearby, but has to be careful of these footholds. They know about it now. So the question is, are we going to rotate towards engine? Are we going to step through this area, go towards reading? Well, you don't have time to because of the Legion gadget. And active, holding the angle, is going to be able to find another defensive round victory for their side of UCF. Yet again, we're seeing the Fisher Falcons getting very, very close. But yet again, we're seeing UCF close it down. 4-1, so it's not over yet. Fisher, they can get that next round, go into the defense, and still be theoretically on track to win. But it looks like we are going to take a very, very quick pause, Carpi. I feel like it's something that UCF might need, especially if they want to talk about how these end rounds are going. How are they getting so close?
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. UCF, they have the potential to walk away with a 5-1 split here. But at the same time, I was watching the EUL playoffs the other day, and I believe it was Eminem. It might have been Wild, might have been Wild that they were playing, and I believe it was on Cafe as well. And I think Wild walked away, with a 5-1 split, and Eminem got into the defense and ended the game 7-5. They kept them on the ropes throughout the switch. They did not let them have a single inch of movement.
Yeah, and the thing is, you've also got to look towards a lot of these rounds, a lot of these leagues. The round difference is a massive, massive indicator of how some of these games go.
Mm.
Okay, because the scoreline, yeah, the numbers tell a story, but they don't often tell the whole story. You could look at a scoreline and say, "Oh, it's a close game," but if you look towards that round difference, okay, well, everything starts to show itself up a little bit more. I mean, KD's in that last game, they're great, but you look at how the round dispersal went, it was quite literally back and forth. It was back and forth right until the end. And because of that, I think if you're on the side of UCF now starting to take this lead, you want to minimize that. Like you say, you don't want to give anything up. You want to make sure that you have that dominant control. Because when you start to lose that, you give the opposite team that little bit of belief, that little bit of hope. And I know it sounds horrible, I know it sounds mean, but you cannot let them have that if you are that team that's in the lead very early on. The second round start slipping away, or start getting a little bit too close for comfort, that's when the mental is going to slip. It's going to wear you down. You need to be ready to deal with that. You need to be consistent throughout your rounds. Even if you're attacking one player or five, the coordination, the
Attackers
refrag,
need to locate and
all the
defuse
basics have to be
bomb.
there all the time. Otherwise, there's not much point playing. That's what I want to see from both teams. I want to see them just really lock down these basics. The strats are there. The general coordination is there. But when things aren't going their way, conversations need to be had. How do we keep our mental in check? How do we make sure we don't overpeak? I do see a lot of potential in these teams. There's a lot of talent, a lot of skill. I think it does come down to some of these players being maybe newer to the competitive scene. They're in the Legends division. I mean, they definitely have talent. They definitely have a lot of skill, and it's proven by what we're seeing. But just to improve that a little bit further, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like you're stating there, consistency is key. And both these teams, they can almost have tendencies to be a little inconsistent. Like Cafe, it is a drone economy heavy map. You know, you need to be sort of entering the round with, I want to say, you know, no more than 2 drones off the board. And some rounds, like right now, you're looking at 3 drones off the board. It isn't terrible, but other rounds you've got 5 drones, you've got the full 5 off the board. Like, if we look back on Border, drone economy was either absolutely there or nowhere to be seen at all. And it's like, you want to aim to almost get that consistency. Speaking of consistency, Caleb is going to pick up 1 towards Maple on the Ram there. So only 1 Ram drone I heard being deployed there, so that's good. Fair amount of utility off the board there. Just going for the vertical kitchen take, so potentially looking to go for a default plan as of now. Drones are coming out. They've got bakery, and with such early access to bakery, you've got a lot of cards to play with here. You can rotate towards white. You can flush them out with vert, or you can let Scoob work his magic and take one of you guys off the board.
Yeah, Scuba's someone I wanted to talk about. Scuba's a huge linchpin. Drop it down into freezer. Aztec will also find a pick. Yes, the refrag goes down, but the plant is starting to follow. Taking away that verticality is huge as that breach is opened up. Snake and Ho gets dropped down. Scuba's able to find it. Fisher, they're able to take that round by sheer aggression alone. Taking that vertical control, they were able to just rip things apart. They didn't have that player above on the side of Fisher, on the side of UCF. So then that breach, it just opened up. You just have to win a couple of gunfights. You don't have to worry about 3 different angles at once. You can really lock it down. If the coordination is there, then that could be shut down massively. The red, the double, it doesn't matter. It's being covered by all the other players that are on the board. That's what we talked about literally 30 seconds ago, Carpi, and that is what we saw. The basics done right, and they had that little spark just to kick things off. The beautiful fiery inferno.
Talk about sending it, right? Scoop on the Amaro hook, straight up to top floor, through the hatch, picks off 1, says, screw it, I'm going for it, through the other hatch, picks off another, and finishes off the round with 3k. That's, in my personal opinion, that's the definition of send it.
Oh, yeah.
And he did nothing less than send it, and it worked out for him. But there have been scenarios where UCF or Fisher have sent it, and it's not worked in there at all. Like, let's use this as a basic example.
10 seconds
The
left before
border
insertion.
play, they sent it into archives, they got the plant down, post-plant scenario.
seconds
It was all
remaining.
looking fairly good, but all of a sudden, a couple Goyo canisters get popped, Maple's outside.
Attackers are moving
Mute
to
sprinting
defuse
towards
the
the diffuser. That's once again a definition of descend it. You've got to be sure when you're 100% going for it. You don't want to start, you know, misjudging or almost thinking back like, oh, is this a good idea? Because mentally, you'd be in two states of mind at that point. You'd be like, is this a good idea? Should we go for it? But if you're in the one state of mind of let's do it, you know, I've got no doubts. I feel like you're more likely to get away with it.
I've got to agree with you on that one. You take away the doubts, so you get a lot more confident, you get a lot more aggressive, and you're willing to really, really do what it takes to open up a round. Now, UCF, they're going to start off their attacking side, and they are going to be looking over towards this cocktail position. They're going to start opening up these windows. This is something I very much like, especially when combined with that rotation. You keep a player over towards that cocktail side, maybe a nomad. Utility goes through, you're forcing these players in these positions, but Scoob is able to find 2 kills. I believe it is on the run out. That is going to be the case. And Scoob's able to find a 3rd again. Scoob, what's going on? Active finds Maple with it, gets the triple. The last 2 players are up on the roof. And they are going to have to rotate. But the utility, the pressure from Cocktail isn't there anymore. Scoob really, yet again, opening the round for their team. Active now, like you say, not really happy about pushing, but they have to. They don't have a choice. Half the round's gone. Time's ticking down. Now that they've only stepped in the building, the defenders are going to get stronger with every passing second. Tech will able to find 1. Able to find a 2nd as well. Makes it a double. And a very, very convincing defensive round to start things off.
Wow. A Scoop. He's...
G. Willikers.
Yeah, he's carrying it over. I think he's on 13 and 7? If I saw that correctly, might have just been 13 and 7. He's going for it. He's trying to get to that 20 mark. He definitely is doable. Is definitely doable. I can see that potentially happening. But a quick reminisce on that last round towards the end. You have UCF left in a 2 versus 4. They can win that.
bombs as they can.
Yeah.
We've seen it pulled off by Fisher. You know, you have to play off each other though. You have to have that synergy. You know, you have to go in there going like, right, here's what I'm doing. This is what we're gonna do. Me and you all the way. We've seen Fisher pull it off. UFC haven't quite pulled it off yet, but they've got a couple more rounds to tinker around, fool, you know, play around with it a bit more. All they need is 3 rounds to close out the series. Fisher,
10 seconds left
I
before insertion.
don't think they're going to let them go. I feel like we're almost heading to a map 3.
5 seconds to insertion.
I want to see a map 3, Muhcreedy. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, I think we all do,
Attackers
let's be
must
honest.
locate
But
and defuse a bomb.
going back to that round, I feel like UCF, they're coming in quite strong anyway. Last round didn't go that way. You got to move on. You got to let it go. The plan was there. The positioning was there. There was a lot of utility usage. I mean, it's like making a cake. All the ingredients were there of a really good take from a really good team. Just getting the case of getting it all together. That's when Scoob came in through a real spanner in the works. But UCF knew exactly what they needed to do, where they needed to be. I want to see more of that. I really want to see if they can develop. I'm really optimistic to see how they perform in these next couple of rounds. I mean, this is their chance to prove that they can make these attacks. They can make these opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. I want to see more. I want to see Fisher just keep on pushing. I want to see them keep on going. You know, they brought it last round. They brought it in the last attacking round. I want to see them just keep on pushing and not hold back at all. Because the moment you start questioning things is the moment it slows down. It's the moment that you start kicking yourself. Yellow pings are coming out. I think it's Maple, sorry, that's being spotted towards here. But he's going to keep the position up. Going to take off a few drones whilst he's up here. They still have middle floor control here. And at 30, pings are coming out. Is this going to be an active kill? It's not. Maple's going to be able to take active off the board. This is well coordinated.
Yeah.
Maple and Techwell, they're coordinating. Oh, this isn't looking particularly great, but my feed is just gone.
Oh, the kill coming out from Techwell will be able to find Bales.
Gotta reload.
Looks for another one, but very aware the attackers are starting to close in. Very good job so far of isolating the attackers, but it's going to be Snake and O. He's able to bite back in retort. Takes away Maple and leaves Techwell on the lonesome in that dining area. Low HP, not a very fast-firing gun. Going up against, well, the G36, and that is a painfully good gun. This may not be an R4C, but going up against the Thorns SMG, it doesn't even need to be. Two players, a very good pinch from Caleb and Snick and O, and the droning from Maui really just open things up. That is a textbook pinch. That's how you want to deal with things. 30 seconds though. Astro this round's got to start picking up the pace just a little bit more. The defenders, they've been really good at wasting
A bomb
time.
has been located.
UCF need to step it up now. There is no real... There is no real opportunity other than this. If they win this round, they get that point advantage. If they don't, they draw even. And Scoob's going to bring us closer, finding not one, but two. And as the drop comes down, Biza closes things down, draws us even, and ever closer towards that map 3.
Wow. You know, for a second there, when we saw that 3 versus 3, 20 seconds, I was just reminiscing on the 20-second meta, where you would lose 1 or 2 players in the starting round from each side, and then it would just be an all-out brawl in that last 20 seconds. Flashbangs, grenades going off, C4s popping, guns are ringing left, right, and center, and you're just looking to either get those kills or the plant down. Scoop, he's sending it, would you not say, Muhcreedy? He is cooking right now. He's
There
definitely
is a little bit of a shaboingery going on, I think the call could
Attackers to
say.
locate and defuse
he could
as many
be
bombs as they
arrested
can.
for tomfoolery at this point.
Yeah.
It's I reckon he's definitely gonna hit the 20 bomb. I reckon. I feel like I'm just gonna make a quick estimate. I reckon Scoop's gonna end up with 23 kills.
I mean, it's definitely
I'm giving
doable from what we've seen.
I'm giving him the boots to fill. I believe in Scoop. You know, I'm sending my energy towards this guy. 8 more kills.
I mean,
Let's got this.
these kills aren't like just exit frags. Most of these kills are impact frags.
Yeah.
You're finding opening picks. You're finding refrags.
Round
They're
defining.
opening. Yeah, they're opening things up. Like they're opening around wide apart. I mean, you just look towards that last attacking round they had. Literally pushed in, was able to find a pick, just carried on 3K. Yeah, don't sweat it, not at all. Speaking of these impact kills, though, I'm really looking over towards Maui. I'm really looking over towards players like Active as well. The kills they have had a massive impact and a massive implication in how the round plays out that you cannot understate it. The same with a couple of the other players on Fisher. So, yes, having that high kill count's good, but the impact kills are especially there for a lot of these players over here.
Yeah, and 4-4, I'm going to go into a little bit of the mental talk now. UCF probably kicking themselves a bit. They're like, you know, 10 minutes ago. Where's it all gone? Where's all that passion? It's almost just floated away in the air. You know, they've got to be smart. They've got to regain themselves. And speaking of that, Active is going to be able to find one onto Maple. And he's on the DMR again. And he likes his angles. So I can definitely see a cheeky long angle or two coming out from Active here. I did say at the start of the map that this should be his playground, right? And so far, he has proven it to be his playground. 5 versus 4. Loads of time being wasted once again by Fisher Falcons. They're really just amazing at time wasting.
Yeah, and speaking of, Bees is going to be able to capitalize upon it. Finding Bales, looking for that second kill over towards Piano and Freezer. Doesn't find it just yet, that's not the end of the world. Wasting time, letting the attackers know that you are there is vital. Our reach utility going to get used on that Freezer, leaving you with only 1 Selma charge. which, while it isn't the end of the world, you might be kicking yourself if you do need that. More Dockerby kills are going to come through as time starts ticking down. Drones start rolling through Techwell. I'm not entirely sure that they've been spotted, and it does look like we are going to see the sledge start to get aggressive. And in doing so, the gunfire starts to take place. Seikano is able to find Scoob. Maui not able to find a second pick because Caleb's already there. On that frag, Cappy and Maui each find one of their own. Cappy on their lonesome. She has been in this situation before. She's come close, painfully close, a number of times. Right now, she has to take that vertical play. The super shotty in hand. She can very well do this, especially if the info is there. Keyword on if. Taking this top floor, 30 seconds. The attacker's going to start looking for this plant. The verticality is going to come through. They're doing you a favor, Cappy. It's time to take control. You're able to find that first pick, and now the attackers over towards pillars need to push in. They know the top floor's just fallen, but they know exactly where the verticality's done, what angles can be held.
10
As the
seconds
plant
left.
begins, Cappy will drop. Maybe a little bit of a misplay, but they knew that they were upstairs before, so this might just be the play they need. Time ticking down, and now suddenly the attackers become the defense. Cappy finding a third, has to find a fourth, looks towards the rotate. Are they able to make it happen? No, they can't. Cappy yet again, another outstanding attempt, but it just comes down to either side of UCF being able to shut it down at the end when it matters most.
Oh, Happy. She's perfectly capable of winning these situations. She's got it. She's got it in her. We've seen it. We've seen it time and time again. She was given an opportunity on the attacking. She's proving herself to us. She's so close for clutching one of these rounds for Fisher. And do you know what? I truly believe that Cappy is going to clutch around. I think she's just saving it. You know, she's out here, you know, saying, look what I'm capable of. If you leave me in a 1 versus 4, you should still be more than wary, you know, that I'm there.
Oh yeah. And you've got to be very careful because if you are Cappy in this situation, 100% you're going to be thinking, I've lost these rounds, you know, I've messed up. No. The round, realistically, when you look at it in a 1vx scenario, that round you can just scrap right off mentally. Just say, okay, well, I'm not sure I can pull this off. I'm going to do what I can. We can take some time. There's no pressure. Then you start getting close, but you're not able to make it happen. You start to believe that just gets rid of the hope. Well, Cappy, you can't take away, there's been sheer quality in some of these rounds. Like, you've been able to win out quite a few of them, especially with the help of some other players, with the support and the coordination you brought. But even in the 1v4s, even on the 1v3s, being able to bring it back as close as they've been able to, I'm going to walk away and be very happy with that. Granted, there's stuff to work on, but there always is. There's also positives to take away, Carpi.
110%. I could not agree with you more. I just, you know, I see her gonna clutch around. I see it. She's just waiting for the key momentous point. You know, it's gonna be one to remember for the ages. Maui, getting a little head-to-head tussle. Nothing's gonna come out of it for either side, though. No damage done either way. Drone game looking quite, I was gonna say strong, but they're only left with 5 drones and 2 minutes on the round. Just waiting and pushing. Breach charges going out, people going onto the rappels. Meanwhile, you have Techwell just pacing his time, but you're going to see it yet again. Scoob, he's going to find one onto Caleb. And not only that, he's not going to be refragged. He's going to be able to rotate and move away, giving his team the upper advantage. Techwell maybe looking to find a pick here. I see gunshots going left, right, and center, but the Ash on the rappel here. Techwell leaving with almost minuscule damage, but Snako has also been heavily damaged. Techwell in a bit of a sticky situation now. Oh,
yeah, and will be taken away, unfortunately. Sagan able to jump in with 1 HP. Copy. Able to find that pick, and with the G36, will definitely move into the position of that primary entry. 1 minute on the clock, so good amount of time wasted, especially by Techwell. But now it's time to start capitalizing upon it. Pixel starting to feel the pressure. Beezer looks for that first kill. Isn't able to land it straight away, but is in the end. Stakino taken down. Knows where another player is, so looks for Maui. at the moment, unable to find it, but just biding time. Even if you could drain out these nades, that's the play you need to make. Able to find them! Yes, you're now down into a 3 versus 1. But make that a 1 versus 2 as Bales finds another. But a beautiful effort from the player over in Pixel and Bathroom to really keep Fisher in this. Are we going to see another 5-5 scoreline? Well, at the moment, yes, we are, Carpi. The question is, are we off to OT? Or are we going to see another 7-5?
I'm calling it OT moment. No, sorry, not an OT moment.
OT.
OT moment. I want to see Fisher's Falcons take this. I do. I want to go to map 3. I'm not gonna lie. I want to go to map 3. I'm in it right now. I'm well enjoying this game. It's a great matchup to watch.
He's immersed in the lore.
I am truly immersed right now. It's back and forth. It's teams taking leaps. We've seen UFC take a massive leap towards the start of Cafe. But we've seen Fisher and, Scoob has been on it. They've closed it down to a 5-5. But we're now sitting here round 11. I am quite literally on the edge of my seat
Defenders,
currently.
protect your bombs from being
I'm
defused
hoping,
by
fingers
attackers.
crossed, that Fisher's Falcon is going to take this. I'm not rooting for anyone, of course, but I just want to see more gameplay. What can I say?
Well, of course. Looking towards this next round, I feel bottom floor, I'm very excited to see. We've seen it a couple of times. We've seen some really good roaming. It's a really good roam clear as well from both sides at the moment. But this is where I feel like Fisher's really going to be able to bring it back. We've seen a couple of rounds where they have just been able to sit down and say, well, we're not really going to move. You're going to deal with us. This site was born for that verticality. Now, we've seen it being taken advantage of by players like Scoob. The question is really put to UFC. Can they perform? Can they deliver that shock factor that we saw from that Amory? Are they going to see the shock factor that they can take Bakery that early? How is this round going to play out, Carpi?
I think I'm going to, Scoob, he's been on it. I think he's going to hit 20 this round. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Scoob's going to get his 3. Fisher are going to sit nice and calmly, and they're just going to play out the round and win it, essentially. Take a 6-5 lead. And I can't... Did Fisher get a lead in the last game? I'm trying to remember.
No, it was UCF.
Yeah.
They were able to close up the last 2 rounds.
So this could be the first time that Fisher takes the lead in the series, and it might also give them a great almost bouncy whip. But Techwell and Scoob both going to pick one off. Scoob, you've only got 2 more, and then you're pretty much just doing what I'm saying at this point. 3 versus 5 is not looking particularly great for UCF, as they've cleared only the top floor, and they're only now looking to push down the middle. And there is a roamer on the middle floor as well. It's not looking great time-wise, not looking good as well for the players-wise.
Yeah, that's not to mean it's undoable, but like you say, we're looking at these players, they are starting to try and look towards the vert, but that roamer's still there. That potential for that flank is still on the board, and when you look at the situations, these defenders, they have a lot of time to defend, to just close in. They have a lot of time to coordinate. How are they going to hold angles? What angles are they going to hold? How are they going to avoid this vert? They know the vert's coming. It does seem like a lot of gunfire is going to come through as some of these players do think about, well, we could drop freezer. We could get a whiskey player.
Yeah.
Although I don't necessarily think that alone is going to be what they need. You have that player in VIP, a player over towards whiskey. It might be worth looking towards those red stairs just a lot more for your initial push.
100%.
But as Active starts walking down these white stairs, the Jackal scan will come, will give the information. These are aware of this player. 35 seconds to get down on the clock. They know the push needs to come through. And while no kills will come through, Tech will be taken out. Actually, the trade comes through. Maui on their own gets taken off. And now it's all down to Bales to stop us from going to match point and possibly overtime. And the question is, are they able to do it? The defenders locking in on that attacker's position. And that's going to be Biza over to take things out down in VIP and give Fisher that match point. And that is a badly needed match point as well. Think about how this map started, Carpi. They were struggling to find their momentum, weren't they?
Yeah, they were really struggling to find momentum. They were down 4-2 is what they ended the half at. You know, they only got that last round at the last round of the switch. You know, and I reckon that might have given them a little, you know, momentum to start rolling, like the snowball. It's going to start off really small, but as you roll it and you roll it and you roll it, it's going to get bigger, and then you've got everything in full force. You've got it rolling. And I think that's what they've managed to do. They've pulled it off. They've got match point. In personal experience, when you're sitting at match point, you don't feel like there's a round in between you. You feel like there's a good couple of rounds in between you. I feel less pressurized on match point than I do during, you know, a regular game round, whether it's 5-4 or 4-4. You know,
it's just one more round.
It's just one more round to Fisher. I know Scoop is probably sitting there happy as Larry, just picking at UFC.
5 seconds to
He
insert.
almost did manage to get those 3 kills like I said he would, but he was just
Attackers
one
are moving out.
short. So I reckon we are definitely potentially looking at him hitting that 23 mark, like I said. But if he wants to do it, he's got to hit 4K this round. Or, like, what's our favorite term, Muhcreedy? It might be an OT moment.
It might be an OT moment, yeah, but nothing is set in stone, like you say. It might be OT, it might not. We're seeing a shield being brought into the mix from Active, and I think this might be... Oh, this might be it. I mean, we're looking towards Scoop, a Legion player. You can shut that down with a Blitz, but those goo mines might cause an issue. The defensive lineup is very, very well versed and very well suited for the attacking lineup that's brought. But UCF, if they can play it properly, they really can get something here. Thorn Gadget will go off for that Blitz. As Maui looks for the kill, it's not going to happen. It's going to be Snekano getting Tech Will on that White Repel, playing Cutoff, and suddenly giving that Blitz a lot more lethality. You have to pick your poisons. What the shield will do, you want Nomad. If you run, well, you take the gunfight with the Nomad. If you stay, you got to deal with the Blitz, and that is a rock and a hard place, Carpi. Cappy is going to be finding themselves in a very similar situation very, very soon. Playing on that white stairs. You're going to hear some utility going off. Blitz taking a lot of damage and will be taken off the board at the moment. Now, that's a massive kill that you want if you are fishing. You take that Blitz, you take that very aggressive energy off the board. And now, well, you just have to find another pick and suddenly you're in the lead. Scoob playing on red. I'm really not sure how Scoob's got away with getting up this high so far. The Snekano, he's able to find another pick. Scoob, you really not get away with this?
No, he surely cannot get away with walking up the stairs, but another kill has come out of... Yeah, he's managed to walk all the way up red and wander all the way back down to the middle floor, leaving us in a 2 versus nothing now. As Sneko is able to pick up the last 2, being Cappy and Scoop, taking us to what we call an OT moment.
It is indeed an OT moment. And for UCF, the opportunity to bring things back, close it down, and lock in that first play day. And as we know, if you're able to find that 2-1 win, that also gives you that map difference, that alone round difference. So having that 2-0 gives you more points than a 2-1, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while, Carpi, since I've had to look at league standings, but that should be the case.
That sounds about right.
Looking at this, UCF, that's a massive, massive break. They're able to stop that match point. They've just given themselves, like you say, that little bit extra buffer. They can drop 1 round. It's only 1 round. They can't drop it, realistically, because they need to succeed. But if they're able to close this out, that's a 2-0. That's not going to club. That's not going to Oregon. That's knowing that you went to your map, you went to theirs, and you were able to beat them. Fisher have given a really good performance so far, but I feel like if UCF can keep up the coordination, keep off those key cutoff players, like we saw that Nomad on White Stairs, like we saw the Yana being able to apply the pressure and the Blitz being able to put these defenders into those situations, that's where we're going to see UCF win. And this roam clear is essential to be dealt with. If they can take that vertical, I believe they can take this round.
5 seconds to go.
100%. UCF, we saw them on the repels last time. I think that was almost the first time I've seen them stick to a repel. You know, not just use it for 30 seconds, 45, a minute. they stuck in it for a good half a minute, 2 minutes, and it worked out for them. At Snako, I believe he picked up 3 just from being on that rappel. I'm telling you, if you just bite your time, it will come into your favor at some point. Snako, he's also 15-9 right now, looking to catch up towards Scoob's 20-5. Like you say, we've got an OT moment. Fisher, they've been rolling on the defense. They know how to play this. They should just stay cool, because both teams right now, they're treading on ice.
Yeah.
We just really, we have to wait and see what happens. It's an overtime moment. We've seen teams go back and forth these last 2 matches.
I'm really liking Scoob's positioning over towards Bakery on this one, because Scoob taking this very aggressive gunfight. Bakery is positioned. You need a very, very confident gunner, and if you have that player, they can hold it out. They can really define a round in that very early gunfight. Right now, it looks like Scoob's going to back up, play it safe, and be careful. They will be drones, so they're aware that they'll need to peek. That is going to be a frag coming out, if I'm not mistaken. Now, they can just reinforce that wall and back up, but if Scoob is the player that gets taken away, well, things really are going to close. Scoob's able to find a third, actually. Only losing Carpi on the defensive side, as the Dockerby falls as well. All falls down to Biza, who hasn't even entered the building yet to really bring things back. This verticality will only do you so well. You know these roamers are going to come for you. You know these defenders are going to position around you. And this really is make or break for the side of UCF. Do they set the pace in overtime? Or do they find themselves lagging behind?
Ooh, Bale's looking to potentially take them off, but no, Tech will stomp his foot on the ground and say, look, this is my ground, you're not having it today, off with you. There you go, Fisher's Falcons, giving them a little more room to work with as they go to the attack. Now, we've seen Scoob absolutely just dominate on Cafe. He's 23-6 or 23-5 at this point. He's pulling out, you know, when Scoob is getting kills, he's not singles, they're doubles, they're triples.
Yeah.
You know, when you see one, you're expecting the other 2 to pop out at any given moment. And I feel like you said, towards that Bakery position, you want to stick someone who's really confident in their gun skill in there. And they stuck Scoob in there. And I feel like if, you know, UCF, they figure out the Scoob's playing in there. It's almost like a mental game. Like, okay, this guy's 23-5 now.
He's feeling it.
We're losing players left, right, and center. He is truly feeling it. Like the Drake song, he is in his feelings.
To give full credit to the rest of the side of Fisher, to enable a player to get to that position, the information has got to be really good. The coordination, the support around that key fragger has to be there. You do not reach numbers like that by accident. So a very big shout out to the rest of the team. You look at players like Maple, players like Tackwell, and Carpi, who are the lower fragging players of this team. They are supporting, they are positioning themselves around Scoob in order to enable them to reach such highs. I think on the other side, though, for UCF, they don't really have that standout player. I mean, Stakano's on 15 kills and 10. So they definitely are taking that higher fragging position.
Yeah.
But it is a lot more balanced, and you are seeing a lot more of the team working around with each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also really good to see.
Yeah, Snako's definitely pushing towards the aggressive side rather than the passive. Like you said, you know, the rest of UCF are sort of evening it out, you know, 7s and 9s and a couple of 6s there. And also towards the side of Fishers, you have got people sitting at the low frags, but their frags aren't exit frags. They are, I've not really seen any exit frags. I've mainly seen the impactful ones coming out from today, or at least on Cafe, I've seen definitely more impact kills than you have of the entry kill, the exit kills, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's very pleasant to see, to be honest.
Yeah, 110%, because you can have a player walk into a building and, you know, being a 1v4, pick off one person, die, and then, you know, you could be sitting at 7-7. But once again, UCF, you know, playing these rappels, and that's what they should be doing. They've got the Monty, the sheep herder, the sheep dog, you know. That's what I almost want use the word to describe shields is because they can just herd players out of positions, and we will hear a kill go off somewhere. It's Techwell who's taken off the board, so not great for Fisher, but a minute 30, just under a minute 30, but Beezer is going to be able to pick one off, leaving them in a 3 versus 3. A minute on the board, and that Monty, he's about to become devastating. He truly is. He's going to move them back and forth. Bales just sort of edging up towards the Monty, going back, but Maple's going to find one onto active. Come on, Fisher. You've got this. Keep your cool. Just under a minute left. 3 versus 2. Here the Monty creeping towards White, and he's definitely going to look to push Bales and Maui out of their position in towards the lines of fire here. He still wants to play pallets here, but Maui, he's going to be able to pick up one, and it's just Beezer. Oh, no. Fisher's...
Oh, the positioning coming out from the side of UCF. That was very, very good. I look at that and I think, okay, well, the Monty pushing through, like you say, that Monty was a massive, massive detriment to the defensive side. They took control of Piano. A couple of kills came out, but they were even. They were 3-3. Until you take the shield into account. That's one active gun not on the board. Because of that, when it does come down to these gunfights, you are playing at that player disadvantage. And like you say, the sheep herder, the sheepdog doesn't really get as effective in the tighter spaces where the attackers cannot follow through on it as quickly, as effectively. But then, especially when you looked at the positioning at the end, I think Bales and Maui, they just played it perfectly. They decided, right, we're going to split up. One go cocktail, one play freezer. They've got to pick. They have to choose. Crossfire there, you take out the Monty. There's no use of that Monty if there's two people looking at them from different angles. So, very well played from them. A huge effort from Fisher. Like you say, it was so close, Carpi, but it just wasn't meant to be in that round. We are going all the way, and the energy definitely is starting to pick up. It's been there for quite a while, I'm going to be honest, but I start to feel it a lot more now.
I can just sense it coming through my screen right now. You know what? Fishers, they were so close. If only the Monty was almost a meter backwards, he had the door frame maybe protecting him, we could have seen a different outcome. We could have seen Fishers walking away with this map. But they've decided to take it to the max of rounds that you can physically take a game to, 7-7. Scoop, he's on his pick. He's on the Legion. He's just got to feel it out. He's been feeling it out, and he's been playing it well. He's not been too aggressive. He's not been too passive. He's been perfect in the middle. You know, not too cold, not too hot.
Right now, the information game is going to be key. UCF aware that the attack, it's not really gone as heavily in their favor. They've not really found as much confidence and as much success. So this is where it really needs to step up. The information definitely starting off is going to be the first step on that long path to victory. At the moment, a minute already taken down, and it looks like UCF are going for down below. They have the buck on the board. They can start that verticality. They're chasing down Scoop. They're aware this roam is going to be in play. And now Caleb's starting to apply pressure over towards White with Bales. And now Snackano can hold that White stairs. In doing so, if they go for the gunfight onto Caleb, and Scoop thinks they can get a free kill, they might be caught lacking. They might be losing their best player off the board so far, but Scoop's able to find two, running straight back down into that basement. A huge double kill to start things off. There goes unanswered from UCF, and now they have to push towards that side. They can't afford to ignore it. They can't afford to go all the way downstairs and do that room clear. They've got to go upstairs. They have to go into the waiting arms of the defense. Time starting to tick down, Carpi. It's not looking amazing. It's not undoable, but it's not for any given.
But I'm telling you, when Fisher came calling for help, Scoop answered almost immediately. He picked off those two players. He ran away with almost barely any HP taken off him. He's down the stairs, still ready for an extreme late round flank. Again, he's pulled it off once. He can pull it off twice. Active, going to take a fair amount of damage from Maple. Another kill is going to come out towards the side of Fisher. Just under a minute to play with. And it's just getting tighter and tighter. And I feel like Fisher, if they play this calm, they keep the angles, they're going to win. Just like that.
And that is the case. I feel like coming out to Scoob, able to find those couple of kills at the end of that round, at the start of the round, really just cracked things wide open for them. Both teams really stepped up. There's definitely a massive increase in the quality of play. I'm not sure whether that just comes down to going down to a more basic map or a more fundamental, map. But I feel like there were rounds where both teams definitely shown they do have what it takes to certainly hold their own, if not go all the way within this Legends division, Carpi. I'm very happy with what I've seen so far. I'm very excited for Oregon. You do get your third map as you wished for.
I did. I asked for it.
After a break, we're going to be rolling into that. We are not going to be wasting that much time. So we're going to just jump straight into that break. And then we will be back very soon. Do not go anywhere. You do not want to miss this very exciting conclusion to our series. Hello, guys, gals, non-binary pals. We are here for map 3 of our best of 3 series. Both teams in this Legends division, the Fishers Falcons and UCF Knights. Both teams looking to start this season in good stead with that victory over the other in the Legends division in week 1. Now, that 3-0, that 2-0, that's not going to happen. Both teams need to go to this last map. They both have that chance to win it. And let's talk about this map itself. Carpi, we got Oregon. What can we expect?
Okay, we've looked at Icon Border. We've had back and forths. We saw teams take leaps forward. I've said this before. We've seen them take leaps forward. We've seen back and forth. We've seen it in Cafe. Both teams have won their map picks, or they both won their map picks, if I'm not mistaken. So moving on to our third map, I really think we're going to go all out here. I think it's going to be back and forth to the very end. I don't feel like we're going to see anyone take a massive leap forward in this particularly, just because, neither team, really picked this map. It's the decider. You don't particularly want to go to the decider, but I reckon it's just going to be back and forth to the very bitter end, essentially.
Yeah, I think I could get behind that, to be honest. Looking at the operator bans, as we've seen before, Flores has been taken away. Map like Oregon, in a very similar vein to Kaf Dostoevsky, a lot of utility, a lot of key high-value positions that you need to push out. Think trophy, think elbow on that bottom floor. The Monty being taken away is an interesting one. Monty's an operator we saw a couple of times, to varying degrees of success. We've seen the Blitz get brought through by UCF. They had a really good time with it. I mean, they were really able to, like you say, herd the defenders into positions, into these kill boxes, into these valuable positions for the attacks. Looking over towards the defensive side, the Fenrir ban is going to come through yet again.
Well, he's not managed to make an appearance in the start of the season, sadly. Maybe towards future games we'll see him. And neither is Mira. Mira's not made an appearance either, which is a bit sad for Fenrir and Mira. But Flores coming out on the band, and like you said, Monty changing it up because we've seen what both teams are capable of using their Monty for. Although a clash on Oregon can be a hassle. It can be a pain to deal with, especially towards the last 20 seconds of the round. You're getting slowed down, you're taking damage, and you're panicking. You got reduced movement. It's all a bit crazy.
Crazy indeed. Just like the picture of Kate that you see on your screen.
Crazy?
Attackers
Well, that was
need to
crazy
locate
once.
and defuse as many bombs.
They locked you in a room. That room was elbow on Oregon. And
They wouldn't let me go.
an interesting thing about the map that I have shown you is, if we take a look at Oregon very quickly, we look towards the south side. Oh, in elbow, sorry. We'll look towards the south side. I'm sure you'll see something a little bit familiar on the walls. You might need to look at Moe for this one. Sure. Yeah, we look at the south side.
10 seconds
Now,
remaining.
does that look familiar, boys?
Oh no! Don't
5
do
seconds
it.
left before insertion.
Come on.
And now that we've got the comedy relief out of the way in this round, I still don't know why that's in there and why no one else has noticed it. Looking towards Oregon, we are going for this bottom floor defense first. And the bottom floor defense, there's a lot of viability behind it. It does allow for these Romans to really just take the attackers on a wild goose chase. That bunker, you can bog them down for so long that it can have so much power in a round. I'm very excited to see how the defenders utilize this site so far. I want to see a bit of roam play, but if they turtle, I'm interested to see how well it's going to work out.
Yeah, I am rather intrigued because Oregon it does have, you know, the repel side of Cafe with Big Tower, but it also has the angle holding capabilities of Border. It's almost like those two sort of mashed together. That's how I'd almost describe Oregon. It's got the defensive sided, the defensive sidedness of Cafe, but it's also got the hints of Oregon with long angles that you can open up. You know, plenty of ideas to play with. We aren't going to see much. I don't think we've got a roam game at all coming out from UCF, if I'm correct. I believe all 5 are on the bottom. Oh, no, there's one missing. Warden's on the top of... No, it's just Warden. Warden and Bales, they're playing at the top of the staircases. But apart from that, there's no roam game. So it leaves me to wonder, how has Fisher taken this long to clear? Scoob, he's going to be able to find one. The detonation of the Thorn gadget will go on, but he's not going to take any of the damage. Scoob, again, he's really not going to light up Cade for a whole much, but Cade will inflict the damage onto him. Might be able to pick up a second or third here. Bales is going to be completely swept off his feet by Maple there. Snake, you know, taking off Scoob, leaving us in a 4 versus 3 for Fisher.
Yeah, but Snacky able to find that kill. Maui's able to bounce back and gets a kill onto Techwell as well. And now suddenly a 3 versus 3, like you say. This is where we expect to see the attackers get bogged down. A minute left, and they do have to go through these high-value positions. They do have to go through E-Box. They do have to go through either that main stairs or that elbow. This is where the defenders can really lock down these crossfires. They can say, right, active, cover freezer. Snacky, no, watch main. And then suddenly, you've got Moe watching those tower stairs. Everything's locked down.
Has been located.
And they're all within, with the exception of Maui, they're all in really strong positions to cover each other. Now that freezer push might be starting to make itself forward, but Active is going to put the pressure. The drop comes in, but Sakano is able to find one, gets refragged. Active gets taken down. Bees are able to find a double. Will have to look towards that plan, but not before Maple gets there in time to help out. Get into a good position, get over the laundry, start getting the plant down. You know roughly where Maui is because you cleared out the site. Ticking down, pushing through. Maui's going to look for that diffuser, but isn't able to do it. Just going to have to try and take the gunfight in the 1 versus 2. Unable to find a kill. Will not get blinded. But isn't able to find anyone just yet. Doesn't spot the player prone. Bees with a triple to close things down. A beautiful kill coming through.
Right. What I'm saying... I'm telling you, like I said before we entered this map, I'm telling you, it was neck to neck. And I reckon we are going to see 2 versus 1s 9 times out of 10. Maui left in the post-plant situation. You saw a little bit of panic. He wasn't sure quite where the plant was going down. He wasn't sure where the cross was coming from. He was worried it was coming from the door, worried it was coming from all the way back from pillar. Wasn't too sure. You could see it. It was a little skittish almost. Is that a word I'm looking for? I think it is. In his movement. He was looking just a little left and right. Wasn't too sure. In the end, Beezer, you know, as they say, prone gets you home, because sprinting in like an idiot isn't going to get you that far.
No, not at all. Going back down to this bottom floor site, I think the main adaptation I want to see is something like a Melusi that we saw before. Or at least somebody who procs mine. So you have a little bit of information on where these players are. You're careful. You know, you're able to deal with them.
10 seconds.
You're able to deal with a push coming through from another angle. And then Maui, maybe you don't have to fully commit to that bunker hold. You play elbow. Have that extra body ready just to deal with a possible push down freeze that you weren't ready for. And then the procs mine goes off if you put it by pillars. Okay, sound. Maui can just rotate around. Maybe it's just these little micro-positioning errors that might be giving Fisher that last round. UCF, I'd like to see them read into it and spot these little things. If they don't, I don't think it's the end of the world, though. I think this is something that develops with time, and is something that they will definitely come to understand as they watch VODs, as they realize, oh, we probably could have done this a little bit better. Looking into this round, though, Fisher, they are going to start this round with a tower clear. Very unsurprisingly, especially with that Yana, there's a lot of free information to be given. As in, tower's clear. We can set a very good foothold up in this tower. We can hold the site. We shut down an avenue of escape for defenders.
Yeah, you're right. The avenues are getting shut down, and could you just imagine if we had a Monty on the board? That round probably would have gone a lot more in Fisher's favor. Or even if UCF decide to bring out a clash, they could easily flip it onto Fisher's. You know, both teams are more than capable here, and Scoop is already there. He's going to pick up another kill onto Bales, who's running around at the top as Goyo. Goyo, once again, a great roamer. You can slap down your canisters and then you're free with, you know, the Vector. That gun is... There's really no word to describe it, is it, Muhcreedy?
Terrifying in the right hands.
Yes.
And I think it's quite comfortable to say the hands of Bales is very much the right hands when using it. Looking towards the positioning that Fisher have now, they are putting this pressure towards Freezer. They are starting to drone down. Now, that's really smart. They're having the pressure applied at one position, but it's going to be snacking with the flank, able to find not one, but 2 kills. Isn't able to find a third, but that's going to come down to Caleb, who goes for that swing. Very, very good read into these positions, what you can get away with. And now Tech Will and Carpi on their lonesome yet again have to find another clutch, but it's not going to happen. Active and Caleb shut things down. A very, very strong start compared to what we saw on the CAF opening.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Muhcreedy, I reckon we are going to go right all the way to round 11. It's going to be pretty back and forth. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, okay. Well,
I'm feeling the senses. You know me. I was pretty good with predictions.
Run me through why. Let's talk about why these teams might be going to overtime. Let's start with UCF. I mean, you've shown a lot of affinity towards Fisher. You've been a real fan in the way that they've been working, the way that they've been attacking and dictating the pace of a round. Let's talk about UCF. Why do you think they have what it takes to go to overtime then?
UCF have the pure aggression, and this is truly, I may not have talked about it a lot on the past 2 maps, but this is really what I do love about UCF as of watching them today. It is my first day, so as of watching them today, the pure aggression that they come out with, it's non-stop, it's consistent, and it's what I like. It's what I like to see. You know, if you're going to be aggressive, you can, you know, go for a little bit of hot and cold syndrome where you're aggressing, passive, aggressing, passive. But what I like to see from UCF is they're pressurizing. They're pressurizing. They're keeping Fishers on the ropes. You know, they're not giving them a lot of room to work with. You know, they're going for these swarm peaks. They're swinging when you're not expecting them to swing. They're truly just straight up gunners, essentially. You know, Snakino, there you go. Picking one off almost immediately onto Beezer. And what an amazing pick. It's Ace. No, you can't let him get away with that. He's picking 2 of your players off. See what I mean? UCF, straight aggression. Nothing but passion-filled boots.
Nothing but net.
As they would say in a good old game of the basketball. Nothing but net. Damn straight. I'm not... Those 2 kills right there are the most impactful that you're going to see. Ace and Thatcher? Yeah. I don't think you're going to see anything more impactful than those 2 being your starter kills. Scoob should be able to hear the ringing of the Dokugi call, but it's going to walk up white and none the wiser. Maybe potentially looking to get a pick onto Bales. Or is he going to be caught out by Maui? Scoob's going to get the pick onto Bales, but is he aware that Maui is creeping down below? What? He's going to get 2. He's going to get 3. This is insane. A 2 versus 3. He's a little overjoyed with himself there. And just like that, Caleb's going to pick it back, and it's a 2 versus 2 all of a sudden.
Yeah, 2 versus 2 on that side. The attackers, they do have that opening. They do want to push in. But right now, they're just taking it slowly. They're droning out. They're getting information. Scoob rotating around the trophy, able to find 1. Takes away the player of Caleb, finding himself a 4th kill. Can this man be stopped? Well, it's not active to find out. Information goes through. Well, clearly the attacks are going to start pushing through. Carpi taken down by the Frostman, and suddenly this just got a lot more winnable. A shotgun coming through for this mute might be exactly what they need. But Scoop has to look for the plan. They're aware of the situation. They can't take this gunfight with the DMR. They know the player on the board is a mute. They have to play for it. They're not going to be able to win it. Active closing things down. Shuts down Scoop's attempt at the clutch. And brings us back into UCF taking the lead. Wonderful play. Beautifully executed. But at the very end, the mute just caught them off guard.
Yeah. I mean, Scoop. Talk about when he gets a kill. Like I said, the other 2 kills that he will get in that round are just lurking seconds round the corner. You know, he walked up white, and I almost expect him to hear the Dokubi call and go towards Frost, but maybe he did hear it and was like, actually, I'm going to hear the music here, and I'm going to walk up white, pick one, swing back around towards bottom white, and I should be able to get 2. But in fact, he picked off the Jaeger, he swung to bomb chassis, he was picking off another, swung back to bottom white, he's able to get his 3rd. And I feel like he's sort of proving like a massive point that DMRs are still a massive factor in these games. Because I reckon if he had the automatic, the I can't remember what the other gun is, I think it's the CF8 or something along the lines of that. If he had the automatic gun, I reckon he might not have gotten that 3rd kill, just because you're spraying 15 bullets at the first guy, you're spraying 15 bullets at the second guy. That's your mag gone. You've got 3 bullets left to flick onto your last guy. Not saying it's impossible, but I am saying it would be pretty damn hard.
Oh, 100%. Looking now towards Kitchen and Meeting. This is a site a lot of American teams have definitely leaned towards. With this time of meeting, okay, well, it's an attic hold from top floor. That's not the end of the world. That's very, very simple for a lot of teams to do. They understand the very simple premise of it. They just drop it down to that bottom floor, and then they also have the kitchen hold as well to back that up. The whole key, the win condition for Fisher is get these walls open. You get the top one, you get the third. You get the third, you can open the bottom one. You get that open and pick up the active. That makes life even easier. Scoop's able to find a second one. Well, that is just going to make your life so much easier. Moving forward, the Cam's given the utility, and now Scoop down below is going to be able to cut off any potential roamer. Caleb being taken off the board now, just to add on to the issues that the UCF are starting to see here. As playing down below, it's not going to be able to find a kill onto Tech Will. It's all down to Bales. They can't escape down to that bottom floor because they're going up against Scoop. They have to push this side. People holding those angles aren't going to be able to get the kill. And a flawless round comes through. This Tech Will closes down with yet another frag. Very, very good work. Very good read into how that round was played by Fisher. And you can't really fault them. It was a tertiary site, but it is the one they needed to get the win on.
Yeah, it is indeed. And I'm telling you, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And like you said, it was a kitchen meeting. And we don't see that a lot in EU. You more tend to see kitchen and dining sort of hold and, you know, extending into the small tower, because I like to see the sort of extension of just using the whole. So I think this, is it the east? It might be the eastern side of the map. Yeah, sorry, the western side of the map. You know, you pretty much just extend all the way out to 90, and you know, you just try and control as much of the western side as possible. You know, make vert holes below the windows, potentially put a player up in small tower, just to play his life. He doesn't have to get a kill. All he has to do is waste half of the round. And if he can do that, almost guaranteed to walk away with a round there, just because of the sheer time wastage that is being played.
Returning to this bottom floor site now, I feel UCF, they really need to bring that same confidence we saw in that second round.
Yeah.
They were confident, they were aggressive, they were very, very... They were certain of what they wanted. The intention was clear. The flank was there, the positioning was there to back it up from the other players. The refrags. They decided, okay, right, I'm going to make a one of the players was going to make a flank. So then you can immediately see the players like Bales, players like Active about to help out. Now, the Goyle Shield's really going to screw over Maple there as Snacker is able to find one. Tech will get 3 frags, but Blitz with Scoob. He's able to find another one. Flurry of frags here coming through, but it's going to go in favor of UCF. Bees are on their own and Killers gets to one kill with the SMG, another with the G8, and now it's a 1 versus 1. Active, while you don't win on that gunfight, you might be able to win on the positioning and the info. You know that this player knows that they're going to elbow. You know where they're going to be coming from, and you know that they're probably going to get the information, so rotation might be the play. Start to look forward towards that long angle, and Beezer knows but isn't able to land those shots. Has to look towards elbow now because that's where the Amory wants to attack. They can't rotate. Time is running out. Yes, there's 2 minutes on the clock, but that is time that you really don't have to play with. Now, towards rotate. Look at the gunfight. Isn't going to get it. Beezer closes it down and gets Fisher another round onto the board. Very, very shaky round. It could have gone either way. It very tentative towards the end, but definitely went in the way of Fisher. Just as soon as we saw Beezer really start to pop off.
I'm lost for words, Muhcreedy. I am truly lost for words, but if there's one thing that I can definitely go for is Beezer ticked like all of my boxes for what you're looking to do in a 1v1 situation. You're not looking to edge in as slow as possible. You're not looking to rush in. You're looking to potentially find that spare drone that you've got in your pocket, use it, wield it into a spot that you can get the most valuable information, and that's what he did. He moved it. Luckily, the Thorn was rotating to highway, had no awareness that the drone was directly behind her. Rotated it into the corner of the bomb, and I think, as you see in the very last moment of that round, you'll see the Thorn creep towards highway, towards back to bomb site. You'll see that Thorn spots the drone in the corner of her eye, but in that moment, you have to make the decision. Do I shoot the drone, or do I go for the swing? And obviously, Thorn went for the swing, but the information was already there. They knew what was coming. You know, they almost had Thorn in their grasp as soon as they set out that drone.
Yeah, and I feel like the positioning from UCF, the pieces were in the right place, but the information was definitely a downgrade. Beezer went into that gunfight knowing exactly where they needed to be aiming, exactly where that player was going to be looking towards. So they weren't caught off guard, which could have been the case. So the information definitely being key. The fact that they weren't able to get the drone, absolute round winning. Looking towards this top of the site, we saw a huge clutch coming out from the side of UCF the last time we were here. They're going to need something on the same level. They're not going to be able to go back down to that bottom floor. They're going to need a strong performance here to give them that 3-3. And I can very much guarantee Fisher, they do not want to be able to give that to them. Snacky, looking for this opening kill. Does damage to Carpi, but isn't able to find a final frag onto her. As to drop down from that tower. They know that you're there. And suddenly, well, they've got to back up. They can't play that position anymore, Carpi.
No. They truly can't, but 2 kills will emerge. Scoob will hit Maui, and Maui will be able to grab one onto Beezer just before. Tech will looking to play up close and personal towards the breach, but does he know that the mute is just behind the wall, ready to swing? Maple going to take a fair amount of damage. No one has no idea. Oh. That's an easy double for Tech will right there, leaving them in the upper advantage here. But almost immediately, Bales is going to get down. Snakito to come for the revive potentially. Pink White, nade's got to go off. He's going to be able to down one, but Carpi. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Snakino tried to kill Carpi at the start of the round, but at the end of the day, Carpi said no. She got her way.
Very, very well played. Just amazing. Outstanding work coming out from the player of Techwill. Like you say, coming in, maybe not where the meat was there in the first place, but holding that angle ready because of the call of the other player. The timing, it lined up beautifully, but then it's not just that. It's being able to turn around to White to be ready for that counter. Just saying, okay, well, I've got this. I'm not going to get carried away. They're going to come from White next. That's where I'd be playing. So we're able to find that gunfight, and then suddenly the player of Bales gets downed. Suddenly, okay, the player of Beezer, gets downed. The nade has to get used here. They have to turn around and say, right, they use the nade, that forces the player from the revive, that guarantees that kill. Not only that, with the time as well, and the site control being in favor of UCF, well, Oh, in favor of Fisher, sorry. Techwill can very comfortably sit there and say, you have to push me. I'm going to sit here. You're going to run right into my gun sight because why not? Now, on the flip side, on the flippity flop, as Carpi would say, we're going to head down to this basement.
Yeah, back
10 seconds to
towards
go.
the basement on the split. This time, we're going to see
5 seconds
Fisher
to go.
Falcons on the defense, and I wonder what they're going to pull out the bag. You know, they have,
Attackers are moving out to
they've
locate
managed to
bomb
leap
and
forward,
defuse
and I said it wouldn't happen, that no team would leap forward, but they've managed to prove me wrong, and they've taken a couple rounds in their stride.
We've seen
Are
a
they-
2-4 before, remember?
We have seen a 2-4, but they have taken that stride. It's not been completely back to back to back, you know what I mean? They've managed to take that little stride, and whether if it's going to be snatched off of them or they're going to take more, only time can tell. Only time can tell.
And that time has come. Scoob's got to be able to find that opening pick. The roam, the very aggressive smoke play, it just opened things up. IQ taken off the board, Carpi. We talked about the importance of it on border.
Yeah.
We talked about the impact that it can have into a round. And that's just not going to happen. We're not going to see any of that because of that.
Oregon, it's one of these big maps. IQ got the gadget. You got a Valk on the board as well. You really, and the Thorn as well. And Cade, you know, so many opportunities for IQ to be used and wielded. Maui getting very close to a couple players towards back tower. Not as aware. But, I mean, they can't see through walls. We can see through walls, but they can't. Maple, gonna peek once, gonna peek twice. He's gonna pick the head off of Maui second time round. Leaving Fisher in a good state. In a very good state for where they are right now.
Yeah.
Thank
But right now,
It's a quick beat. Oh, he has no idea, does he? There's someone behind the box. It's the Valk. Is it gonna be a C4 toss potentially? Or a quick beat?
maybe. This
call's
Valk's
gonna
going to
come
keep an eye. As soon as the
Shortly.
call comes out, like you say, that's when we're going to pop up. Naples able to get a second kill. Techwill able to find another, and it's all down to active and meeting. This round has gone about as well as you can expect it to if you're going right into a snake pit, which is exactly what UCF has done. Now they know where the Valk is, they know where the diffuser is, and active. You might not really be sure what to do. This might be the moment to call out for a little bit of a breather. Just say, right, it's a 1v5. This might not be the round. This, like we said before, it's not a it's a write-off of a round. You can just drop and say, yeah, I'm going to win my gunfights. You might not be able to, but the round was done at that tower push. It was done as soon as that Valkyrie stood up.
Oh,
In that round,
that was bliss.
it was just the Mistrone. The Mistrone was the key undoing for UFC or UCF. Sorry.
Yeah, I definitely mixed up their name on border quite a fair amount, so apologies, UCF, for calling you UFC. But like you said, the Mistrone. I mean, that I could not describe something picture perfect, but that right there was pretty much picture perfect. You had the Valk ready.
Beg for that in ranked.
Yes, that one. That coordination, you got the friend baiting, not baiting to the extent that they're gonna lose their life, but baiting to the
Attackers
extent
need to
that
locate and defuse as many bombs
you can
as they
easily,
can.
one of you are gonna get that kill, one of you's gonna get that double, one of you's gonna get the single pick. You know, that's what you almost look for when you're trying to hide in these positions. You know, when you think of a flank, what's the first thing that comes to mind, Muhcreedy?
Just the timing. Being able to catch the enemy so unaware.
Yeah.
Because they're so focused on the push that's happening. If the timing is perfect, you could have the worst aim in the world and still be able to pull off some
10
magic
seconds left.
flank.
Yeah. Because, you know, for me, a flank,
5 seconds
it's not defined by the range of the flank. You know, you can come up all the way from basement
Attackers
in
objective is
Oregon or
locate a bomb
Cafe
and
or in
defuse it.
Consulate or in Skyscraper. You can come all the way from the bottom floor towards the top floor site, and you can get a kill or two. But you could be on that top floor site, hiding around a bench, a box, a wardrobe, and just ready to get that kill. Speaking of, Bales is going to pick one onto Scoop. He has decided to take a little peek into the book of Scoop, and he's going with the Buck DMR.
Yeah,
So
now
gonna see
a bit of damage is going to go through onto Caleb. coming from that kid's hatch, but that's not going to stop the attackers. They're going to keep pushing. They realize that they really need to make something stick. This is make or break. You get another round on the board, right? Sound. They'll either go back to that site, or they've got to go back to the tertiary site. Right now, though, it's going to be all down to Snackino, able to find a kill up the hatch, takes down Beezer. And now the 3 versus 5. A very good stead for UCF, but not if Maple has anything to say about it. The breach is open. The SMG and shotgun has now taken the place of the reinforced wall. And when the wall can shoot back, Carpi, it might not be as good as it sounds.
Talk about timing right there for Beezer. If he was just holding it slightly more to the left, that definitely would have gone in his favor. But, like you said, UCF need this round. You know, if Fisher get the round right, it might not be the make or break, but it's definitely going to make them think a little more about every little thing they do. They're going to be double, triple checking whether they should be peeking this, whether they should be joining this, whether they should waste their time with going for a vert take, or a window take, or whatever specialized take it is. They're just going to be edging out on ice, essentially, if Fisher get this round.
From the point of view of Fisher here, or from UCF, sorry, they look at this round and say, as Maui's able to kill Carpi and bring us a bit closer, if Fisher win this round, that's match point. They go to the tertiary site next, yes. But Tackle's going to find Maui. And if this does happen, if they find that win, they can lose a round. They can go down a round and head down to that bottom floor side, but the attackers are going to bring it back. It was a must-win. We said it was needed, but active there with the bot DMO phones. A double kill at the end. Scube's going to back out. A tactical pause is going to be called, and I do not blame them. They've just lost that primary site, Carpi.
Yep.
The pack, okay, it's a technical restart. The PC crashed. Okay, fair enough.
Could it be tactical? Do we know this?
No, I'm going to say not. It's a tech pause.
You never know.
Pause. We'll leave it at that. But still, the team do have the opportunity to talk about those strats. They do have the opportunity to discuss, well, what happened in that round.
Yeah.
Like I said, they can lose this round. But now they have to go back there to win it and then back down to the bottom. Don't get me wrong, it's not undoable. Like, that is a good situation to be in. There are a lot worse. But for UCF, that's a much-needed round. You've clawed it back a little bit. You've kept Fisher away from that at least guaranteed overtime.
Yeah, you've kept Fisher on their feet for just a little while longer. All you need to do is two, 3 more rounds. You got it in the bag, you know. But you're then sitting back to that OT moment of cafe. Like, where is your positioning? How you want to take this? Do you want to switch it up? Do you want to keep on trying to perfect what you've been doing the past round? You know, it's the definition of insanity. You know, you're trying the same thing to get the win, but you're losing, and you're doing the same thing again, and you're losing. You know, you're expecting to do the same thing with a different outcome. Is the definition of insanity, right? So, is it whether they just need to adjust the tiniest thing for them to be able to get around? You know, is this possible?
Yeah.
Is it the tiniest tweak, or is it the biggest move?
I think tiny tweaks are definitely the way that the teams need to be looking. I think in terms of UCF, when you come at the VOD review after this, I know this isn't helpful now, but teams should be looking at VOD reviews. They will be looking at this VOD review if they're worth their salt, and they're in the Legends division, so they should be. I feel like the misdroning obviously was a key thing, but the micro positioning, that's where we really need to start nailing things down.
Yeah.
Being in little positions where you're not just setting yourself up for one gunfight, but there's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of different things you can prepare yourself for if you're in that spot. It's like I talked about down on the bottom floor. If they're playing over towards elbow because they have a prox mine placed over by pillars, that frees up a lot of space or a banshee something. That frees up a lot of space that you just know that you don't have to cover because the information will be given when it's needed. Either the gunshot or the actual device going off. You will know, and then you will be aware that you have to rotate. Something like that can really just change the pace of a game. You don't feel as bogged down and locked into your positions. That's really what I'd like to see UCF taking from this.
Yeah.
Whereas Fisher's Falcons, I think my main point has got to be getting this consistency get down to a T. Keeping it so that once they get the momentum, it rolls through. It's something that, yeah, it's been a lot better as we've gone through. But even when you're starting that game, even when you're just warming up, it's something that has to be present. If it isn't, you're really going to struggle to get that momentum rolling.
Yeah, you're 100%
10
right.
seconds
And
left.
talking about those little tweaks, those little misruns, opportunities where you want to be looking to set yourself up for several gunfights, I feel like
Attackers
if
must locate
I had
and
one
defuse
message,
the bomb.
if they watch this, and I hope they really do watch the VOD reviews, because casters can pick up on the tiniest things that can make or break your season. You know, maybe we'll point out something detrimental that you've not even realized that you've been doing, and we help you in the massive favors. Or maybe we point out the biggest flaw to other teams. I feel if there's one thing I come out of this game today, it's you have to learn to play off with a buddy. You have to buddy up with someone. You have to, you know, for instance, I get it, you know, 5-player game, 5 versus 5. Obviously, you're going to have the odd number. But look, Scoob, I'm going to use Fisher as an example. Scoob, he's disappeared, but he is a gunner, right?
Yeah.
You can use him by himself, but you can pair Carpi with Maple. You can pair Beezer with Techwill. They can play off each other, and you can let Scoob do his own thing. You know, you then get the opportunity for refrags, and the opportunity just widens more essentially when you got people playing off each other. But Fisher, 4v5 is not looking great. A minute 45. Maui's going to be able to take the head off of Techwill there. Quick boost for the health
Bomb
boost.
is located.
Maui just pre-firing. Not too aware of what's around him as of now. We'll just see UCF slowly start to make their way up through below. Towards white potentially, maybe even looking to do a main tech, but Beezer's going to be able to take up Bales, chuck it in favor of Fisher potentially. As the time ticks down every second, you're giving more and more time towards Fisher.
Yeah, but it's something that UCF, they put themselves in a very good stead to start off this round. This might be what they need to get back that extra point. Start looking at drawing themselves level. Looking towards this round, this push needs to start coming through very, very soon. And I feel like UCF, they have it what it takes, but Fisher, they can lock it down. They can really, really lock it down on this round. Unfortunately, we do seem to be having a little bit of issues with the feed, but there's technical difficulties. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do. We are doing our best, however, to try and resolve it and get straight back to the game so you guys don't miss anything. But Carpi, we were discussing just while we had our last break, we were discussing about micro positioning. We were discussing about consistency. We were discussing about buddying up, using that fifth person as your hard support and having the rest buddy up to deal with roamers and such.
Yeah, no, 100%. I feel like in the rounds that have been flawless or impeccable, where you've ended in a 4v1 situation or a 5 versus 1 situation, you've seen that they use the buddy system. The buddy system. You have all, you know, players working off of each other. You got them back and forthing, just like almost like a rally in tennis or badminton. You're hitting the ball back and forth, and it's working. They need to start with a consistency. You know, we've seen it in border. There was a lack of consistency with util from attackers. Not enough nades being used. You know, seeing nades, people dying with nades in pockets, flashbangs in pockets, smokes in pockets. I get it. Smokes might not be the most useful of things, but you know, still utility to burn, still utility to get rid of. You know, towards Cafe, we saw the lack of the buddy system almost. You know, we didn't see enough. Actually, no, that's a lie, because we did see, you know, the occasional odd round of the buddying up. I'd say, you know, the drone economy on Cafe was once again a bit iffy. Like on Border, it was either bang on point or nowhere to be found. You know, these are the things that I feel all teams need to work on, but these two teams in particular might want to just take a look at the VODs. You know, I've been gone from casting a long time. I could be completely wrong, but that's just my take on the last two maps. What about you?
Well, I think there's a lot of good points in there that any team, like you say, can take away from it. But this isn't necessarily a step of this is where these teams are struggling. This is where these teams suck. It's more a case of this is how to get the most out of your team moving forward.
Yeah.
There's very good performances from both sides. I mean,
100%.
both of these teams have demonstrated why they are where they are and why they are able to deliver the performance that they have been so far. Honestly, it's just little things that can really just progress your game so much further. And Carpi, we are going to jump back in. And
Right.
I'm going to have to tell you how that last round finished without showing you, unfortunately. Fisher, I've now moved on to match nay series point.
Yep.
UCF have to fight that off.
Yeah. UCF, they're stepping on ice, and the ice
Attackers
is
need to locate and defuse
at the most
bombs.
thinnest point it could possibly be. For them to regain some grip and start working their way back towards the solid land where there's not the murky depths of water below them, they need to be bang on point. They just need, they need to feel out the round. They need to be passionate towards it. They need to be making smart decisions, not rushing in, not misdroning. You have 3 minutes you get to work with? I believe it is.
Attackers have discovered
You
the
have
location of a bomb.
3 minutes to
10
work
seconds
with.
left before
That is
insertion.
so much time to work with. Start pre-placing these
seconds
drones. Yeah, you got Caleb on it. He's pre-placing these drones. Of course, you're gonna lose a
Attackers'
couple,
objective is to
but
defuse
still,
the
you should be
bomb.
pre-placing. You should get your hard supports droning in your entries. You're almost ready to start the round. Bang! You're not. Everyone's getting off their drones and running in or repositioning because you can see it. They're getting off their drones. They're running 10 feet and repositioning. Why run the 10 feet? Why not just stay on your drones, join in the hard support? Are we going to see a rush? Oh, no.
I think we are. Now, the pressure is on UCF to play that perfect game. They have to win 3 rounds on the trot, and they have to go through this site, the tertiary site, and they're going straight back to that top floor. The problem is with all of this that they have to play perfectly, like I said. That's just to get to overtime, Carpi. That is just to get to rounds 13, 14, and possibly 15.
Yeah.
UCF, they've taken a look down at bunker now. They've realized the pressure that they're in, and they've rotated. Some of them have said, right, we're going to push it, but Scoob there has definitely shown exactly why they need to explore these other avenues. Snacking out does have a drone there watching that blue, but it's going to have to back off. It looks like active. Going to be playing on the north stairs, has the information given. Going to start moving down, looking for a kill.
He might be able to find the kill just from holding the long angle here. He will indeed be able to pick one on to tech. Will bring it back to a 4 versus 4. You have to keep in mind, a lot of utility has been used by Fishers. They used the Goyo canister. They've used all of their smoke grenades. They've not got a whole lot to work with, but you don't need a lot to work with when you got Scoob on it. The SMG-11, he's going to manage to pick off active all the way from, I think it's Pillar he's playing? Even further than Pillar, he's halfway down Highway. I can see him crouching and skulking in the back there. Bales, just look at the push freezer.
Yeah, and that's really the struggle the UCF are going to find. They are going to go up against these long angles that are prepared. Fisher are ready for this push. They know where it's coming from. There's no real surprises. I mean, that blitz is going to come through. It's going to cause issues, but Biza is taken down by Bales. A beautiful shot, but does Bales know about Maple? Scoob able to find Snacky. Might be starting to close things down. The jaws of defeat closing in as Bales gets taken down by Maple and Freezer. It's all down to Caleb, and they're not going to be able to find it. Fisher will take this down, take a 2-1 victory. They went down at Border, but we said it was such a close game on Border. We weren't really sure how it was going to go out in the long run. Carpi, a beautiful game of Siege and definitely a very strong start to the season for both of these teams. Honestly, they start pretty high. I think if they just take the little pieces of work, they can really, really soar.
Yeah, 100%. We're not criticizing the teams. I think both teams played amazingly today. This is the best matchup I've seen in a while. You've got people dropping 23 bombs, 13s, 12s. You've got teamwork coming out. You've got coordination. You've got skill. You've got everything that you can imagine in these games. You need to look at a couple of things to work on. And that's not me saying you're bad, because God knows I would be in the trenches if I played against these guys. These guys, they're on it. They just got to maybe take a step back, look at the bigger picture, right? Because it may look picture perfect close up, but just take a step back and see what imperfections you can work on.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward, I think the teams have a lot to work with. I mean, there's definitely things for both teams to improve on, but 100% these teams have definitely got things to be proud of, especially with the performances that they've had in some massive rounds, some specific players, as a team in general. I think looking forward, both these teams are going to have a really, really good season. However, we are not done, Carpi. Myself and you, we might be shooting off and heading off to bed because of the
Oh,
EU
yeah.
time zones. But there is a
It's-
second game today. That is going to be St. Clair Saints going up against Columbia College. That's going to be Binks and Corbeck to guide you to all the way through our second matchup of the day. But that's going to be it from myself and Carpi. So we'll see you another time. Have a wonderful night and enjoy some damn fine Siege.
Cheerio.